app.
The Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios at Bridgestone Arena inside the Patron Platinum Club, where the Nashville Predators take on the San Jose Sharks tonight. It is hockey. I believe hockey is for everyone night. So everybody, come on out, because hockey's for you, because it's for everybody. Just so that caller that called into the midday show last week knows. It's for everybody.
That is what that night is called.
So they are playing the San Jose Sharks today. Let's get the greetings out of the way. Caroline, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Outstanding. Ian, how are you?
What up, what up?
Okay. I'm going to do this because I thought it all day. This has been, I don't think I've done this, Ian. I don't think I've done this for 4 years.
I was actually going back to look. The last Preds game looks like 2/21/19.
Okay. So keep that in the back of your mind. So maybe I have done this in 3 years, but I haven't done this. This was 4 years ago. I want to take you back. The Predators had, and it wasn't a meaningless game because they were competing for the President's Trophy, so every game was meaningful. But they were playing a horrendous Calgary Flames team. And as I was sitting in the tunnel during morning skate, I heard a guy who was with the Flames talking about the fact that they had been rerouted, earlier in their 9-game road trip. They were supposed to go into Chicago, but it snowed there, so they had to fly in somewhere else and bus out to Chicago in order to play. And then the roads were terrible, and then they came in here, and tonight was the last night, and after the game was over, they were going right back to Calgary, and they were all excited to sleep in their own beds, and you get the picture. And they had a backup goalie in there, and the Predators were the best team in the league. And I said that day, and this also happened to be the day that Nashville became a finalist for the 2019 NFL Draft. So this tells you how long ago it's been since I've done this. And I said that day, knowing that Calgary wasn't very good, knowing that they were at the end of a road trip, knowing that they were getting to go home and sleep in their beds that day, and knowing they were playing a backup goalie, I said that I guaranteed that the Nashville Predators would beat the Calgary Flames that night. And they lost. And I got to tell you, the people were mad. Let's flash forward to tonight. The Predators are taking on the San Jose Sharks. They're terrible. I pulled it up on moneypuck.com, not that I needed to because the Sharks are donezo, but it literally says, this is a huge game for the Predators. This game is of no significance to the Sharks. They have a 0% chance to make the playoffs. Winning the game would not up that by any means. The Sharks are terrible. In fact, I believe they fired their general manager last week. Is that correct, Ian?
Technically, he resigned.
Okay, so they fired their general manager last week.
Kind of health reasons, but...
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. T's and P's. So they let go of their general manager, or their general manager resigned. They've got an interim general manager, and the interim general manager is not going to be the general manager because he's leading the search for the next general manager. And I say all of this because... I am guaranteeing that the Nashville Predators will win tonight against the San Jose Sharks. I just can't see the Predators losing. And I know it's the NHL. And I know everybody's got good players. And I know that night that I guaranteed a victory against Calgary, they lost and everybody got mad. I know that. And I know that sometimes the most just inauspicious losses come at the most random times. The Predators had a closeout game on home ice at Bridgestone Arena against a guy in Andrew Hammond who was starting in goal for the Avalanche, who hadn't played hockey in 2 years, and they lost. I know. But the truth is, the Nashville Predators, and I don't think we have any idea what they actually want to be. I'm not sure we have an idea what they think their ceiling is. I'm not sure we have an idea of how far they actually think they can go. Normally, teams think they can go further than the general consensus would believe. And that's why you always see teams that get to the Final Four or are playing in a Super Bowl, or when hats and T-shirts are being passed out, you always hear, nobody believed in us, but we believed in us, because every team seems to believe that one way or another. I have no idea if the Predators actually think inside their locker room they can compete for the cup. But I do know this. I know they have to make the playoffs. I know that it matters in this organization to the most important people. It matters if the Predators make the playoffs. I know that it is a much different conversation at the end of the season if you make the playoffs. I know the Predators are not happy with the fact that they didn't win on Saturday night against Florida when they didn't play great. And I know they're not happy that they only got a point against Pittsburgh. And I know that this game means infinitely more to the Predators than it does to the Sharks. And I know UC Soros, and I heard Robby Stanley allude to this. I don't know if this is true or not. But there's a belief, maybe it's a conspiracy theory, that UC Soros did not travel to Pittsburgh on Sunday with his non-COVID related illness. He didn't travel not because he was actually sick, but because they knew he wasn't going to play, so they didn't want to fly him on the plane. And it's the only way to be able to call the other goalie up. And so that way, oh, are you feeling okay? Nope, not feeling okay. All right, you stay home and you just rest up. So UC Soros has plenty of rest. He hasn't played since Saturday. The Predators are going to beat the Sharks tonight. They're going to be more physical than the Sharks. Quite frankly, they're going to play harder than the Sharks. This game just means so much more to the Predators. And if they lose, I will take the blame for today's loss. You can put it all on me, whatever you want to do, because I'm guaranteeing that the Predators are going to win tonight. But if they lose tonight, then we got serious questions about the team. Then we got serious questions about, can this team really truly rise to the occasion? Because we're not asking the Predators to rise to the occasion against the Colorado Avalanche tonight. We didn't ask the Predators to rise to the occasion against the Florida Panthers on Saturday night. I think everybody saw how close that game was Saturday and said, hey, that's the best team in the league. If not the best, the second best. Good job. This is the San Jose Sharks on home ice with a fully rested goalie, with everybody in the lineup, coming off of 2 losses, where you've got essentially a playoff spot wrapped up if things just break your way. By the way, Dallas plays Tampa Bay tonight, and that's after the Predators game is all but over. I think that game is at 9:30 tonight. And then Vegas plays Vancouver, and I believe that's at 10 o'clock tonight. Although those times could be Eastern, it could be 9 and 8:30. I can't remember.
I believe that is 8:30 and 9. I believe that is correct.
So I read the Eastern time thing, but that's okay. So you got games after your games, and their competition, now Vancouver's not very good, but their competition is better than your competition. The Predators will win tonight. The Predators have to win tonight. And if this team doesn't win tonight, you can be mad at me, but my goodness gracious, am I going to be mad at them? Because there is no excuse to lose this game. Very often, I don't know if you've noticed this, but over the course of the season, they lost on the road on a Wednesday night at Seattle when they had no business losing that game. They lost a couple weeks ago to Buffalo on that Friday night. And Caroline, back me up on this. I didn't get worked up at all about any of those losses. I think fans get worked up about those losses. I did not get worked up about those losses.
No, you did not.
And I did it because I know that over the course of an 82-game season, there's just going to be some games where you just don't play very well, or there's going to be some games where, I hate to say that they're not that important, but it's hard to tell these baseball players, hey, every game during a 162 season matters. Hell, the Titans play 17 games and they lose like 4 games a year that you are literally just scratching your head trying to figure out how they did it. But you know what game the Titans didn't lose this year, Caroline? They didn't lose the last game of the year against the Texans, which meant the number 1 seed, home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs, and a first-round bye. They tried to, but they didn't. Because at the end of the day, they knew how detrimental losing that game could have been. I look at the Predators, and I look at the competition today, and I have not cowered in fear at looking at the rest of the schedule. I look at all those good teams, and I think, look, Predators have beaten good teams this season. They'll beat some of these good teams. David Poyle said it today on the midday show that basically they just need to win 5 of the next 10. And if they do, he feels good about their chances. And I think mathematically, if they win 5 of the next 10, I think they're in. So guess what? It starts tonight. And they have to win tonight. And if they don't win tonight, then I think you can maybe get a little bit worried about the playoffs. I probably won't, because I think they'll make up for it with a victory over Calgary or a victory over, one of these good teams down the stretch. But they've got 2 games in this. Oh, Jared, it's a murderer's row. They've got 2 games they just can't lose. They can't lose tonight, and they can't lose at the end of the season against Arizona. Those are the 2 that they may not lose. It is inexcusable. And when I say may not, I mean you absolutely, under no circumstances, can I lose this? You may not. You may not lose tonight to the San Jose Sharks. So I am guaranteeing a victory. The Predators will win tonight. They will rise to the occasion against the crummy Sharks. Do you think this has any chance of backfiring?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it has a chance of backfiring.
I do.
Would I bet on it backfiring? No.
I guarantee it. This game tonight. This is again.
They need to win this game tonight.
Ian said the last time I did this was in what was it? February of 19
against the Kings, a Kings game. Yeah.
Did they win?
The Preds did win. Yes, you got it correct.
Okay, so there you go. Last time I did this, they won.
1 for 1.
No, Calgary 2018. That was. Boy, were people mad at me. It's funny. I don't even remember the one I got right, but I can tell you exactly what happened the day I got it wrong. I am guaranteeing a Preds victory. Your thoughts on it? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. We'll get Caroline's thoughts. We'll get Ian's thoughts. We'll get your thoughts. And I got to give Joe Rexrode some credit. He had a column in The Athletic about the Predators that I think hit the nail on the head. And it's something he can't figure out. It's something I can't figure out. And I think it might be something they can't figure out. We'll get to that next. Boy, we are rocking and rolling today. Stillman and Company. We're guaranteeing a Preds victory. It's ESPN 1025 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Every Friday at 8:30 on Robby and Rexrode, we talk with the legend, Terry Chris, about all things Nashville Predators, presented by Copper Branch on ESPN 1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Now through April 14th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends April 14th. See club for details.
Did you know that about 80% of new home buyers don't ever shop around for the best mortgage loan? That's a huge mistake. Hey, Willie Donick here. Listen, not all mortgages are created equal, and I'm here to prove it with Loan Pronto. People who use Loan Pronto save on average $3,500 just in closing costs. On top of that, they get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agents go to lender. They're fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet they can get you a better loan, a lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. What have you got to lose? You compare costs on everything else in your life. Why not do the same with your mortgage? Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Genesis Diamond's most anticipated event of the year is coming next weekend, April 22nd through 24th. Huge store-wide savings, plus thousands of new, unique designs from the biggest names in jewelry. All new collections, 2 years in the making, from names like Tacori, Verragio, and more. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, many never seen before, and all specially priced for this 3-day event. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Bring your old jewelry and trade up. April 22nd through 24th, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe Rexrode here to let you know all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. The best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run. One team I'd look at, maybe the Mets, Pete Alonso, something for you to consider. What are you waiting for? Pick your home run hitter, turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. Fast, easy, all kinds of options. Head over to your FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code Joe102. Again, that's promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is knowledge oversight. Credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
You liked what you saw more so on Sunday than Saturday. How did you correct that, and how do you build on something like that, even when you don't get the result, but you still like the way that your game is trending after that Sunday game?
Yeah, I think just coming into tonight with the same attitude. Doesn't matter who we're playing, if it's at home or on the road. We need points right now, and we understand that. It was a great effort in Pittsburgh. We came up 1 point short, but I liked our effort and our commitment. So a little more of that, I think we'll be on the winning end more often than not.
There you go, Colton Sissons saying, hey, I liked our effort. I liked the way we played against Pittsburgh. I'm not going to go that far. I thought they played an okay game.
It was fine.
Whatever. You can't let Sidney Crosby just fly right down the ice and set up camp right in front of the goal.
I thought Riddick played well.
Riddick was great. Mm-hmm. He set up camp in front of the goal just twice, Crosby did, and put in 2, including 1 in overtime, and they lost, and that's just not okay by my standards. But we've moved past it. As Bill Belichick would say, we're on to San Jose.
Uh-huh.
Tonight against San Jose sucks. Like, no way around it. I am guaranteeing that the Nashville Predators will win. Do you have a problem with this?
I really don't, because the Nashville Predators need to win and should win. Of course, picking up 1 out of the 4 points over the weekend is good, and you're still staying above water, but you're only 1 point above Dallas. So any points that the Predators can pick up here and there, they absolutely need to. And when it comes down to it, the Predators are better than San Jose. San Jose has nothing to play for. The San Jose Sharks are planning their trips to Cabo. They know they're not in the playoffs. The Predators need to get a win tonight, and they should get a win tonight.
Ian, your thoughts on my guarantee?
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's, as far as guarantee goes, I think this one has a pretty good chance of hitting.
By the way, I didn't know this. I just pulled this up, the little picture sheet for today.
Thank you, Katie.
Shout out to Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
Shout out to Katie for the Predators for the pictures. The Sharks have lost 6 in a row.
Oof.
They are 0-5-1 in their last 6. They suck. Their points leader is some guy named Meyer. I don't even know who that is, Ian.
Timo Meyer?
Never heard of him.
And
should I have heard of him before?
Probably. And they have Tomas Hertl.
Okay, now he just signed for a bunch of money, right?
He just signed a new 8-year. I think it was $8 million per.
Yeah, I remember because Hal said on our show a couple weeks ago that Hertl was like a good comp for Forsberg, and I looked at Hertl's contract and it was like $8 million per, and I was like, "Good one, Hal."
I think they still have Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson. I believe their starting goalie tonight is the goalie from Minnesota in a trade that they got when they got rid of Fleury.
Dubnyk?
No, Capo Kakinen.
Capo Kakinen. Wasn't he with Columbus?
I thought he was the Minnesota goalie earlier this year, and Minnesota got rid of him when they got Fleury at the trade deadline.
Maybe. I'm just telling you.
Either way,
right
they're
now,
bad.
I got to tell you, you could totally play with me in the San Jose Sharks. You could totally play who he play for. Because, I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, the Sharks, I don't think I've watched a single Sharks game all year. They played the Predators last month, and I was flying back from San Diego. And so, Southwest only gives you like 8 channels you can choose from.
Right.
And it was Coach K's last game. So I watched that.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like landing and it being like 8-0 Predators and me being like, yeah, sounds about right. Because the Predators had gotten embarrassed against Seattle on the Wednesday before, and then they were playing on a Saturday.
What was it, like a 6-1, 6-2 game against Seattle?
No. I think it was like
closer
4.
than that?
I think it was like 4-2 or something. But like Crispy was
still.
So they lost on Wednesday, and Crispy was on Thursday, and Crispy was just giving them the business for losing that game. And like when a Preds broadcaster is giving the Predators the business, the Predators really deserve the business. Like if Crispy's mad, that Crispy has a reason to be mad, and he's voicing his frustration because he's pissed. And that's how he was after the Seattle game. And remember, because Hal didn't come on Tuesday, he came on Friday, and I asked Hal, I was like, Hal, I need you to go down to the locker room and tell those guys to get it together because I'm pretty embarrassed that they just lost to Seattle. And then Hal basically gave us the excuse of like, they got up 2-0 and they thought they were going to win and they kind of put their feet on the coffee table, which I never want to hear.
We don't want to almost win.
I do not want to hear from the Titans that, we had a good lead at halftime, so we put our feet up on the table and we all. I don't want to hear that. And Hal said that, and I was like, well, you need to go down there to the locker room and you need to tell those guys that Jared Stillman's fed up or whatever, and they won 8-0. So I was like, I bet Hal went down there. No, I told Hal that I found their play to be at that point uninspiring.
Do you think you told them that? And they said, we got to play better for Jared.
All I can do is tell you what I told Al. That's all I can go off of. And they won 8-0. So I don't think I have seen a San Jose Sharks game this entire season. They've lost 6 in a row. Their season is over. They lost to the Predators last time, 8-0. The Predators have everything to play for. The Predators have lost 2 in a row. They're going to win tonight. Let's get to your phones. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Adam in Portland will kick us off. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, I'm guaranteeing a Preds victory tonight against San Jose. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I'm not taking that to Vegas, man. And the only reason, because it's not a hot take. You wouldn't say that's a hot take because they're a sorry team. But the Preds, if there's anything I know about the Preds is that they are very streaky. And they've done it all year, and they lost 2 in a row. And you just said it. The other team hasn't won in a week and a half. So I wouldn't put money on this game, dude. I think there's a good chance that y'all all look pretty bad tomorrow.
Oh, I would load up. We're a pro FanDuel show here, although Caroline loves Caesars Sportsbook. But, I would load freaking up on the Predators tonight on FanDuel. Now, let me caution this, with a little asterisk that I say a bunch of dumb stuff. So keep that in mind. One of the times
Preds fans like to take the opposite of what you say.
Well, when gambling became legal, we had talked about doing a gambling segment on the show, and Floyd didn't want to do it because he was afraid that, if he had got things wrong, that people were, going to try to kill us. I take it that seriously, but I also wasn't in the NFL for 40 years where they probably beat that into your brains about, hey, don't gamble because if you gamble, you could, that kind of thing. Uh-huh. But let me just say, as I tell you to load up tonight on the Predators, that I don't want anybody to show up at my house if the bets don't hit. But I'll tell you, load up. They're going to win tonight. They are going to win tonight. And if they don't win, I'll give 1 segment or 2 segments tomorrow, or however long you guys want to just call in and cry me a river. I will let you do that. I will take the blame for the loss. But then we really got to start talking about the heart of this team if they lose tonight. And we've got a rule that nobody gets punished for something that they haven't done yet. So I'm not going to question the heart of the team right now. I'm not going to be mad at the coach right now. I'm not going to say any of those things because they haven't lost tonight, because they're not going to lose tonight. But if they lose tonight, then we got a bunch of questions to answer tomorrow. As somebody who, if somebody who were to say okay, what are you guys going to talk about tomorrow? If the Predators lose tomorrow, tonight, I know exactly what we're talking about tomorrow. What's in our text line?
One texter texts in and says, Jared, no matter how much the San Jose Sharks suck, they're the most dangerous type of team to play. That style of team would love to play the spoiler.
I completely disagree. I think the Florida Panthers on Saturday night are the most dangerous type of team to play because they get scoring from multiple lines. They've got a great, they've just got a great team. They beefed up at the trade deadline with Claude Giroux. That is a good freaking team. That's the team I don't want to play. I was listening after the Preds game was over on Thursday. After the Preds game was over on Sunday, I was listening. It went right from the Preds to Inside the NBA, and Kenny was out, but it was Shaq, Chuck, and Ernie. And they were talking about teams losing on purpose and trying to get the right matchup or whatever, and how Milwaukee didn't care. They rested everybody, and, because they rested everybody, Milwaukee has to play Philadelphia or somebody in the first round.
Tough team.
And Shaq was like, Ernie, I don't care. I just go ahead, get them out the way at the first. They're the champs. They know everybody talking about Brooklyn, and everyone going to talk about KD and Kyrie. They don't care. They're the champs. They beat them last year. They did. They're going to beat them again this year. Just get them out the way first. That's what a true competitor is. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think players would disagree with that. And Shaq was a player who was always favored and was always on good teams. And, I don't think players would disagree with that. Hey, if we got to play them,
play them.
Let's play them now.
You're going to have a tough road no matter what. It's
who I think disagrees with that, though? Owners. You know why?
Yeah, because the owners know that if you play an easier team in the playoffs, you get to the next round of the playoffs. And that
Fill the
means
building, baby.
Money in their pockets.
Fill the building. And I was thinking about that like from my own prism, because let's not kid ourselves. We're the flagship radio home of the Nashville Predators. It's great for business when the Predators win. So this idea of listening to people on, text into Robby and Rexrode and talk about how if how they think that they'd rather play the Avalanche in the first round, I'm like, get the hell out of here. I want nothing to do with Colorado for as long as possible.
And that's not a get them out of the way kind of situation.
No, that is a get to Calgary and get more games in the building and get more days where we get to talk about it and get more advertising revenue for the radio station, because we're the flagship home of the Nashville Predators.
And also more games, hockey is a good thing.
Well, right.
For everyone involved.
The more games means more commercials. Just like with the bars downtown, more games means more people in the building that spill out into the bars after the game. We're no different from that. So, like, no, hey, Shaq, I hear you, but no. And I don't know what got me on that. Oh, yeah, somebody said that they were a dangerous team to play San Jose. Get out. It's just 8-0. Well, they lost 6 in a row.
May I interpret the text as it's dangerous, not in their type of play, but it's dangerous in the fact that could be a total trap game?
Well, yeah, but you know what?
Buffalo, for example.
But here's the difference. And, Buffalo, again, you say whatever you want about that. I mean, I don't, one way or another about Buffalo. Here's the thing. The Predators need to make the playoffs. So, like, the idea of it being a trap game, like, hey, they're not very good, because they're this, they're that, whatever. The idea of that being, like, a thing is, to me, ridiculous. Because you got to make the play. You got to play every game hard. It's like if this were the last game of the football season and you had to beat the Jags in order to get in, Indianapolis, you better freaking show up. I don't care that the Jags suck. You better show up. And that's how I feel about the Predators tonight. 615-737-1025. More of your thoughts again here on the program, because I am guaranteeing that the Predators will win tonight. They will win tonight. This is, by the way, the first guarantee from me of the John Hines era. So we'll keep log of that. 615-737-1025. Peter Laviolette once told me that he liked it when I pulled against them. And I was like, I'm not pulling against you. I'm picking against you. It's not the same thing. But coming up next, there is something that I think everybody should be happy about. Everybody except for me seems to care about it. And we'll get to that next, involving the Predators. Stillman and company right here. We again are live at Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators are playing the San Jose Sharks tonight. And guess what?
They're going to win.
They're going to win here on the program. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let me tell everybody out there, as this email loads in front of me for me to tell everybody. This is a good one. This weekend, we celebrate the career of the one and only Terry Crisp. Let me get a salute out there for Crispy. Salute to Crispy. As we put the band back together, as Pete Weber is joined by Crispy to call the action on radio against Chicago. Then they will shift to the TV booth for Sunday against the Blues, and Crispy will be honored during the game in a special ceremony, and you do not want to miss it. Crispy will be on our show Thursday, and I'm not going to lie, I might tear up in our last Crispy interview. I mean, you all know how I felt about Floyd. I looked at Crispy as like the hockey version of Floyd. And so, salute to Crispy.
Shout out to Crispy.
So there you go. Radio right here on Saturday, TV on Sunday. Can't wait for it. And I think I also just got an email. Bally Sports just sent me an email saying that Bally Sports South analyst Terry Crisp to be honored during Sunday's game. We're honoring Crispy the whole weekend, so be excited for that. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
This is Tanner Janot, and this is Smashville.
And now down the right wing side, Tanner Janot. His shot, he scored! Tanner Janot with the shot!
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025 The Game.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
The racing, the big one, the camping, it's all just bigger at Talladega. And with a doubleheader on Saturday and the premiere of the next-gen cars on Sunday, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. NASCAR's biggest and baddest track is back. The Talladega NASCAR Weekend, April 23rd through the 24th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Spring into savings at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Get huge savings in every department, like computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop locally owned and family operated at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Harman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Harman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Harman. Visit HarmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and Nashville SC's new home, Geodis Park, is nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Secure your season tickets now. Come on and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Play ball! Mr. White get high in the air, deep left field, on the track, at the wall, it's gone!
The Nashville Sounds are on the road as they take on the Gwinnett Stripers.
Swing and a strike three, and the Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 5:50 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Malkin clearly did not get that call. It was a very confusing end to the second period.
Yes, and very disappointing. We should have had at least a 5-minute power play, possibly a 7-minute power play for the slash that Malkin put on Morrow, and then obviously the 5-minute major for the cross-check right into his face. I don't have a good answer for you. I know that, as you said, we all felt it should be a major, and obviously with the suspension, the league felt that way. Referees, it's the human factor. They have the ability to, in this case, to call a major. They have the ability to look at an iPad to review what happened in that situation, which I believe they did. And for whatever reason, they did not deem it a major penalty. Again, I could go on and eventually get myself in trouble. But again, it's been, if you will, been upheld by the league, again, by the suspension.
There you go, David Poyle today on the Midday Show. And let me say this, if Evgeny Malkin got 4 games yesterday, and when you guys were talking about, like 2 games for Malkin or something, I was like, there's no way that if Wayne Gretzky is saying 5 games on the postgame show, the NHL cannot give him 2 games.
I didn't say 2 games.
I think I said 2 games.
I said 5 or less.
I thought there was no way they could give him 2 games. After Wayne Gretzky said on television, like, oh, yeah, it should be 5 games. I'm like, then it's going to be pretty darn close.
Yeah, looking back, I think Matthews got 2 games for doing something similar. And so I think Malkin has a little bit more of a history. So probably minimum we should have started at 2 and up from there.
Well, I just don't think we can discredit the Gretzky factor, right?
The fact that he wants it out of the game.
He's on TV talking about it.
That
like
Gretzky
that.
told you what he thinks about it, and he's freaking Wayne Gretzky. It's like if Michael Jordan said, you know what, we need to expand the free throw lane. Like, the people at NBA would sit there and say, Michael Jordan said that we should.
Would they?
Oh, yeah. Dude, remember when Charles Oakley and what's his name? The owner of the Knicks, James Dolan? They got into it, and Dolan kicked Charles Oakley out of MSG and arrested him, and it was like a big whole story. And like it was, who's right, who's wrong? And they were, talking bad about each other in the papers. And finally, Adam Silver released a statement saying, I had a meeting in the New York offices with James Dolan and Charles Oakley and Michael Jordan joined by video conference or whatever. And it's like, they ain't calling up the owner of the Phoenix Suns to get involved in something like that. Now, Jordan and Oakley go back. But, it's Michael Jordan. And Wayne Gretzky, even though Wayne Gretzky, not as popular as Michael Jordan.
Okay, but it's Wayne Gretzky.
He's
the
Wayne
Michael Jordan
Gretzky.
of hockey.
I thought about that watching that game, is that if Gretzky gets on his high horse about anything, and he didn't really get on his high horse about this, but if Gretzky gets on his high horse about anything, it becomes like number one to the league. Like now the league has to, because Gretzky said, but I digress from this. Malkin got 4 games. You got a problem with it?
Nope.
Ian got a problem with it?
Nope.
Okay. I love Darren McFarland with all of my heart, and I mean that. I really do. But my God, I listened yesterday to the start of the show, and Darren and Willie are just losing their minds about it.
They're pissed.
Then I listened to the Poyle interview, and you heard the question Darren asked there, but Darren asked 2 more questions about the Malkin thing. And, David was getting all wound up too, because I think a lot of people believe because it wasn't a match penalty that it cost the Predators the game, though I don't necessarily believe that, but I can understand why they believe that. And then today I get in the car as I'm coming here, and they got some hockey guy on from Canada, and they're talking to some hockey guy, and Darren goes right into it. I'm like, oh, my God, give it up. Here's the thing. It was a bad call. The refs screwed up. The refs are going to screw up. They might screw up tonight. The refs are going to screw up. They're going to screw you because that's Evgeny Malkin, and you're not Evgeny Malkin. And I get it. I get it. But we got to move on. And we got to worry about next year problems. Like, this is a next year problem. So the next time you play the Penguins, next year, because the only chance you're going to have to play them again would be the Stanley Cup final, and I do not advise getting into a fight in the Stanley Cup final. But next year, when you play the Penguins, throw Borowiecki on the ice and have him slug Malkin in the face. That's what you got to do. Next year problem. And we have now entered into the realm of what I call next year problems. You get into a playoff game against Calgary and somebody slew-foot somebody else, they're probably going to get suspended for a day, but then the next time you play them next year, you slug them in the face. I mean, half the team does that anyways. You got Borowiecki, you've got Jeannot, you've got McCarron, you got all these guys that want to fight. So
Tusslers.
Knock yourselves out. Knock yourselves out next year. But, I mean, again, I love Darren with all of my heart. I do. Like, this heart pumps blue blood for Darren McFarland.
That's weird.
Well, your blood is blue.
I know, but your blood pumps for Darren?
I mean,
of all things?
I love him, and I mean it.
That's kind of you.
There you go. And yet, oh my God. I mean, it's Tuesday.
Well, I mean, I understand being...
I didn't really care about it much yesterday, but it's Tuesday, guys.
I understand being frustrated about the call because it was a bad call. But if you're frustrated about the 4-game suspension and you think it should be more, I mean, I think that you're just beating a dead horse at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
it's unnecessary to demand more. 4 games, it's fine. It's the end of the year. You're not going to see the Penguins anyways, so move on from it.
Yeah, I'd have given him 5, but whatever.
4, 5.
They're going to make the playoffs.
If it was 1 or 2, I can understand, an eruption of being so angry. But 4 games, fine. I expected 5 or less.
Let's get to your phone. 615-737-1025. What do we have?
One texter texts in and says it's a head scratcher that guys such as Duchesne, Forsberg, and Johansson and Yossi are having career years, and the Preds are in a similar spot as last year.
So I said that yesterday. Joe wrote that in The Athletic, and I think it's a really good take. Mm-hmm. And it is like last year, this team, this team was kind of always on the right side of the line at the end of the year, but they just got in. And then they were totally overmatched by a better team, and they played hard and made it a series. The other side of it is, all we did was complain about how the guys that were good last year didn't play well at all. I mean, like Yossi played okay, but Forsberg was hurt for most of the year, didn't do much. Duchesne didn't do anything last year. Johansson didn't do anything last year. I mean, the goalie was good, and the goalie's good now. But somehow that team was in the same spot as this team? That doesn't make any sense. And I do wonder. Like, I do wonder if that's, like, the coach's fault. Like, do we put that one on the coach? And I have thought about that. Like, do we look at the coach and say, because everybody wants to give the coach credit. Now, I'm not against giving the coach credit. Hines is doing a good job. I mean, we'll see tonight. I think Hines is doing an okay job. But if we're to sit here and say, hey, John Hines' job was to get the good players playing better, that's good, and he's done that. But then why is everybody else not doing anything? And I don't know the answer to that. Or is that, the roster construction? And do we get mad at Poyle for that? Or do we look at the reality of, as Crispy said when all this went down, you don't trade Arvidsson and get better. You don't trade Ellis and get better. Now, Ellis is hurt again, and he's always going to be hurt. But they didn't get anything for those guys because they had waited too long on trading them. And so when you wait too long, this is what happens. So, I think there's a lot of give and take. I think it's all very fair. Back to your phone, 615-737-1025. Plus, somebody has asked me to tell the people what, since I am guaranteeing the victory tonight, somebody has asked me what I'm going to put on the line. I will tell you what I am putting on the line. Next, Caroline, tell us about Seltzer Land.
Join me at Seltzer Land on Saturday, April 30th, where they will be turning Riverside Golf Links into a hard seltzer paradise. Guests will be able to enjoy this one-of-a-kind immersive experience, spending the afternoon tasting 100-plus unique hard seltzers, indulging in delicious munchies, receiving tons of seltzer swag, and capturing Insta-worthy moments. You do not want to miss out on Seltzer Land. Listen to ESPN 1025 The Game all month long for your chance to win tickets to Seltzer Land on April 30th at Riverside Golf Links.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Partly to mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the day. High temperature up to 78 degrees. Another round of rain moves in overnight. Severe weather possible tomorrow.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, Robby Stanley here, and I'm here to tell you can go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. This season, all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesdays on MLB games. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every single home run. So I think the Dodgers, someone to keep an eye on this year. Freddie Freeman, maybe he starts off this season pretty good from the power side of things, but you take it any way you want to pick it. What are you waiting on? Just pick your home run hitter, turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. Head on over to FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code ROB. Once again, that promo code is ROB. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus of $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and when I'm out with my friends, my go-to is Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It can be served as a drink or a shot, and it's always a hit with the crew. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world, made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter. You can learn more about them by visiting screwballwhiskey.com, and do like me when you're out and about, ask for it by name at your favorite bar. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Driving happy with Febreze car.
You're driving home when, oh no, you hit the longest red light in town. What's this? You're smiling because your car smells amazing. You just installed a Febreze car vent clip. Ha ha! 5 weeks ago, with up to 40 days of consistent Febreze scent, those lights can stay red for as long as they'd like.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robby and Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and The Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Live from Bridgestone Arena, Stillman and Company. Stop by Social Furniture, 5412 Charlotte Avenue in Nashville now, and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Predators on Saturday against the Chicago Blackhawks. Also, don't forget to check out their new sofas while you're there. Must be 18 to enter the contest. No purchase necessary. So somebody whom I have the utmost respect for sent me a text message and said, as I have guaranteed that the Predators will win tonight against the San Jose Sharks, and said, put your money where your mouth is and tell the listeners how much you are betting on the Predators tonight. Which does take me back to
the
time that I wanted to bet $1,000 on Tennessee to lose to Oregon State, and would have been incredibly right.
And on my drive to Nashville to move here, I spent an hour listening to Jared Stillman boo-hoo crying about how he did not put $1,000
You talk about
on
baloney.
Oregon State.
Here's what I'm willing to put on the line for tonight's game. My reputation.
Oh, boo!
That's what I'm putting tonight.
Boo!
That's what I. It's all.
No.
Here's the thing.
$100.
Oh, I'll put $100 on a game.
Do it.
I was thinking like if I was going to put money on the game to show you how much I think the Predators are going to win, I was thinking like 1,000.
Okay, then put 1,000.
No, I don't want to put 1,000 on the game. But I know they're going to win. Like I would not.
Well, then why not put 1,000?
Because I just don't want to.
Oh, put 100.
I can put 100 on the game.
Okay.
I can put 100 on the Preds on the money line. What are the money line odds right now? So if I were to do this, if I were to put,
I don't think it's great money line odds.
No, because they're supposed to win. I mean, in all seriousness, like the idea of putting $1,000 on this game, then winning
minus 220.
So what's that mean?
So it would be.
I'd have to put $220 down on the game in order to win 100.
You would win $45 if you put $100 down.
Right, like if I put $1,000 down, I win $450. That's no fun.
Yeah, $450 is a good chunk of change.
That's like that moron who, like the odds one. I want to say this was like 2013 or something, and it was Andy Murray versus some bum in like Wimbledon. And it was the first round, and it was like 100 to 1 odds, and the guy put $100,000 down, like just to like make his $1,000 or whatever.
Right, and he lost.
He lost. Like, and it's like, I mean, goodness gracious.
Well, if the Preds are going to win, the puck line is 1.5.
I think I'd put. Fine, I'll put 500 down.
Plus 120.
I'll put 500 down the puck line.
All right. That to win 600.
Okay. See, I'm okay with that.
All right. Now you can take me and Ian out to dinner.
But the idea of winning, like the idea of winning $450 and risking $1,000 to win $450 is of no interest to me.
But if you're gonna guarantee the Preds are gonna win, then that's $450 in your pocket.
If they miss a freaking empty net tonight and win by 1 goal, I'm gonna freaking lose my mind. But I'll put 500.
But they're still winning, so that's your guarantee.
Well, right, but then that's the reputation. But I lose the bet because I'm not going to bet the money line, because the money line, I think, is such bullcrap for this game, because the Predators should win because this team sucks and they've lost 6 in a row.
Then they should win by 2.
Apparently the text line's mad at me.
Text line is mad at you, yes. One texter says you can't keep crying all offseason about Tannehill, then bang on the midday show for the comments about the Malkin thing.
That's totally different. That's totally different. The Malkin thing is done. Like, that's over. Like, again, like they can't go back to Sunday night's game and replay it from that spot because the ref screwed up. Like, that's like a holding call or a pass interference call. Tannehill will be starting at quarterback for the Titans on a team that could be pretty good and probably throwing the ball to the other team next year, and that's why you'll lose to Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Mac Jones or whomever.
Or even a worse quarterback even.
Yes, like Derek Carr. And Derek Carr might not be a worse quarterback.
He's not bad.
But like all these guys you got to play in the AFC.
Zach Wilson.
Like you cannot freaking throw the ball to the other team. That affects the first game next year. I've told you, I fully expect the second game of the season next year to be Thursday night at Kansas City. You can't throw 3 interceptions and win that game. You will not throw 3 interceptions and win that game. You might be able to throw 1. He threw 1 last year. Just threw it right over the middle, right to the linebacker who was standing right there for no freaking reason. And if the Titans had gotten rid of Tannehill, like let's say the Titans had gotten Aaron Rodgers, which is not the Titans' fault that they didn't get Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers didn't go anywhere. But let's just say they had.
Okay.
You think I'd be bitching about Tannehill's 3 interceptions?
No.
You think I'd be complaining about Tannehill's season last year?
No, because it would no longer be a problem.
I would have moved on. What's next?
Well, another texter texts in and says, I hope that your bet backfires because you need to be humbled.
I got to tell you something. I'm at a point in my life where losing $500 is not going to humble me. I'm not even talking about the money. I'm just talking about the lack of humility.
Fair.
That's kind of more of my thing.
I feel like humility might be in a rear view for you.
Although winning 600 would be really nice because I had to replace 2 tires this morning. So winning $600
Get that money
would
back.
be very nice. And I'll tell you what, I remember I had to replace a couple tires like 6 months ago, and I talked about how I felt like I was getting suckered, and you said that the text line basically said that I got suckered into buying 2 new tires.
Yeah, probably.
So today I went.
I don't listen to car people.
I went there today, and I was there, and they were like, basically I had a flat, and I figured I had a nail in my tire, and so I took it in, set an appointment, took it in. Drove like freaking Noah in the Ark this morning because it was
awful.
Freaking unbelievable.
Awful.
And so I kind of pull in there and they give me a quote on like what patching the flat would cost. And the guy comes to me and he's like, yeah, we can't fix this. And I was like, why not? They're like, you need to get new tires. And I'm like, there they go again. There
They're
they go
suckering
again.
me in again.
These 2,
I'd rather have a flat tire than listen to you.
Right here. And then he was like, no, like the tread, like your tires are so worn. The tread is so bad. And I'm not a car guy. And so like the tread is so worn on the tires that they can't fix it, like at this point. And I looked at the tread on the tires and it was like smooth like a baby's rear end. And I was looking at the 2 back tires that I had replaced like last summer and they're like freaking jagged. And I was like, they're probably telling
You're
the
right.
truth here.
Yeah.
So they had 2 sets. So I was at a Firestone. And so it was Bridgestone or Firestone. And they were like, the Firestones are X amount. The Bridgestones are more, but they're better. And then like, tires.
You don't care about tires.
Well, I went more on tires because they're tires. How can I not care about tires? If your tires stink, you die.
Okay, that's dramatic.
But it's true.
You could die.
Well, I mean,
but if you're choosing to maybe cut a few bucks here and there on Firestone tires, it doesn't mean that you're going to die.
No, but I'm not cutting, again, where you cut corners, tires is not one of the things that I plan on cutting corners on in my life.
Sometimes I think that you could make a little bit of extra money on the side just creating diamonds with the amount of pressure that goes on within your body.
Oh, my God. You have no idea.
I know.
You have no idea.
I know.
It is such I don't want to say I don't want people to cry for me because I've had an incredibly fortunate and sheltered life, but it is truly amazing the amount of anxiety that I create for myself about nothing.
Because you just equated cheaper tires to death.
No, I mean, let's be real. If you got bad tires and you make the wrong mistake at the wrong time, you be safe about tires. I will never forget one time driving from St. Louis to Kansas City. Chase was in the car.
It was in a
Chase was driving
snowstorm.
in the middle of an ice storm, and we were getting on an interstate or off an interstate, or we were doing something with an exit ramp, and I was holding on to that car, and I was like, oh,
and
Lord.
that drive sucks.
I was like, oh, Lord, Chase, please get us onto this highway. Please get us there. So I don't think this stuff, again, what else we got?
Another texter texts in and says, what happens to Hines if the Predators don't make the playoffs when the guys mentioned having a fantastic year? Guys mentioned being Duchesne, Forsberg, Johansson, and Yossi don't make the playoffs.
Well, I mean, the question of what is going to happen to Hines and what should happen to Hines, in my opinion, are 2 totally different things. I was thinking about this today, and I was like, trying to break down the Titans draft, because we're almost 2 weeks away from the draft. And I think there's a difference between what the Titans will do and what I think the Titans, what I think they'll do and what I think they should do. Like, those are two very different things. And so I'm thinking that when it comes to the Predators, like, I truly believe if this team doesn't make the playoffs, and I have had no talks with anybody who matters about this stuff, so this is all just me speculating. I think if the Predators don't make the playoffs, Poyle keeps his job, Hines keeps his job, and on they go. I don't know if that's what should happen if this team doesn't make the playoffs. But I'm telling you what I think will happen is Hines will keep his job, Poyle will keep his job, and on they go. And maybe people think that's what should happen. I mean, I'm not any expert on what, they will do, should do, whatever. But I mean, I think I've made my feelings about the direction even above Hines for a while. And I haven't really changed my opinion on that. But I think even if they don't make the playoffs, I think they'll return the same guys. That's just my
probably will, because it's going into the season with the same expectations.
Speaking of what the Titans will do, what the Titans should do, coming up next, I do wonder that there is a process at play here. And I think it is time to start thinking about if the Titans make a decision that I think they're ready to make. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The voice of reason.
274 yards, 2 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. You're not going to win a game that way.
The voice of the fan.
I'm tired of let's just give it to a quarterback.
The voice of Nashville sports is your home of Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, it's me, Chase McCabe, and listen, you know that I love BetMGM. I use it all the time, and I talk about it all the time. They are the king of sportsbooks, and they unleash the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. If you're planning a trip to Vegas, like I am, you can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today and get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is coming. April 22nd through 24th. 3 incredible days of store-wide savings. Up to 35% off engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, wedding bands, plus special financing. Even Genesis GIA certified diamonds are marked down. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new amazing designs. If you're popping the question soon or just looking for some new sparkle, you can't miss this annual event. Save up to $10,000 on some items. It's April 22nd through 24th and only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
You love Days Delta 8 products. Now follow them on Instagram for special promotions, giveaways, contests for cash prizes, and cannabis education. Make your next Days purchase at any of the 3,500 nationwide stores that hold their products in Informed One. Follow Days.D8Official. That's Days.D8Official on Instagram to see this truly single-source Delta 8 brand behind the scenes. Days 8, the highest quality standard of Delta 8.
Signs First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage? Keep your engine at its best with clean oil from Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic. Got an older vehicle? Use Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic High Mileage. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $35.99. Get what you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,000 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
NASCAR is back. Kyle Larson returns to Nashville Superspeedway a winner.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 1025. The Game streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios at Bridgestone Arena, where the Preds take on the San Jose Sharks. And we have guaranteed that the Predators will win tonight, so keep that in mind. The NFL Draft is 2 weeks and 2 days away. The least anticipated draft maybe of all time. But that doesn't mean that it won't be the most important draft of all time. That we'll have to look back and see as far as the Titans are concerned. And so I've been thinking in my head a lot of strategies as far as how to cover this draft, how to break down this draft. Trevor will be on later today. We'll ask him a lot of the same questions we'll discuss here. But I always try to kind of put myself in the mindset of the Titans. And that means taking myself away from what I think and almost thinking about processes when it comes to the Titans, when it comes to how they're going to go about doing this. And I'll be honest with you. I get excited about thinking about the Titans drafting a quarterback. I really do. And I think this year at the Combine, John Robinson and Mike Vrabel were more open in talking about how they evaluate quarterbacks. Now, they're not going to tell you what they think of these guys, obviously. So I think it's worth having the discussion. If the Titans don't walk into the draft, like you can't go up to John Robinson today and say, John, who are you going to draft? Because he doesn't know who he's going to draft. 25 teams pick before him, and if one of the 25 teams likes the guy that he likes the best, then he's not going to be able to pick that guy. Floyd used to always come in on the day of the draft with 5 guys. They were his 5 targets, and it was always, unless one of the top guys falls, which we'll use Drake London, the wide receiver out of USC as an example of this, or Evan Neal, the tackle out of Alabama, who the Titans will have no chance to draft. If one of those guys falls, you draft Evan Neal. But other than that, there's like 5 guys, and if they're not there at 26, you trade out of the pick. And that is usually how they're going to go into drafts. That's how I would expect them to do it. But quarterback is now kind of at play. And there's a lot of different quarterbacks that a lot of different people feel very differently about. I heard Dan Orlovsky today on Pat McAfee, and he was just talking about how Desmond Ritter is the most advanced quarterback in this class. And I heard Bill Polian this morning on SiriusXM basically say that Desmond Ritter probably needs to sit on the bench for a year. And so it's like, well, I mean, those are 2 different guys that have 2 different opinions. And my gut is that the Titans facility probably has 2 different guys that have 2 different opinions. So I go back to how to do this the right way. And I look at the Buffalo Bills. I think Brandon Beane, the Bills general manager, is the smartest general manager in the NFL. The fact that they didn't win the Super Bowl this past year and they didn't win the Super Bowl like the year before that, I don't make that, like, that's not the general manager's fault. Like, it is the fact that they ran into Patrick Mahomes twice and they couldn't outgun him in either time, though they got much closer the second time. I think Buffalo has a great team. I think they're well built. I think they're built perfectly for that city. I think it's a great team. Now, the run's not going to last forever, but I think he's just got such great foresight. He hired a coach that wasn't, the sexiest coach out there in Sean McDermott. He had a playoff team and tore it down to build it up. I mean, just great foresight. And so I read the CBS has an article that was published in 2018 after they had drafted Josh Allen, but before Josh Allen became Josh Allen. And it talks about the fact that Sean McDermott began discussing with Brandon Beane shortly after Brandon Beane was hired about the veteran starter Tyrod Taylor being destined to be a bridge guy in Buffalo and not the solution at quarterback. The exercise of weeding out which players were going to be here for the long haul and which would possibly be extraneous began almost immediately and led directly to what occurred in the draft in May. The process was considered paramount for the organization, and by August, there were already tangible signs of this new direction. So they moved off of Sammy Watkins, they moved off of Ronald Darby, that they were clearly moving in that direction. They realized that they couldn't do this with Tyrod Taylor, knowing that they had to go up against Tom Brady in their division. So CBS talks about there was a week game where they benched Tyrod Taylor for no reason, and they started Nathan Peterman, and Peterman threw 5 interceptions, and Taylor went back in. But at that point, all that did was rule out that Peterman was their guy going forward. They knew Taylor wasn't their guy. So as they kind of explain what happened, the Bills made a bunch of trades, trading like highly respected players, like really good players, to add draft capital for the upcoming draft. They traded Marcel Darius, the defensive tackle, to Jacksonville at the trade deadline. They traded their starting left tackle who had been to the Pro Bowl, Cordy Glenn, to Cincinnati. And so they moved up in the draft. So they moved up. They made the playoffs. They moved up from the back of the first round up to the middle of the first round by trading Cordy Glenn to the Bengals. Then they did that all thinking they could get a quarterback. Like it was all to get a quarterback. Was the whole plan was at some point you got to move up and you got to strike. And so they did all their research on all the quarterbacks. They did their research on all the veteran quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins that were going to be free agents, and Teddy Bridgewater and Alex Smith, and they did all of that. And then they looked at the young quarterbacks, and they thought, okay, who do we like? And they studied them, and then they spent time with them at the Senior Bowl and the draft process and everything else. And ultimately, they decided on multiple guys, and they felt like they had to get up into the top 10 in order to get one of the guys they liked. And I kept reading that back, and what that told me was they knew Mayfield was going to be gone by then, and the Jets had moved up to 3 early in the process. Like around the start of the NCAA tournament, they moved from 6 to 3 with the Colts because they were going to get whoever the Browns didn't take at number 1. So if the Browns took Mayfield at 1, they were going to take Darnold. If the Browns took Darnold, they were going to take Mayfield. That was their whole plan. And I say this because the way it turned out was I believe that night in Dallas, now they weren't in Dallas, the Bills weren't, but the pick was, they went into that thinking they were either going to get Josh Allen or Josh Rosen, that they were going to get one or the other. Now, obviously, they had Allen ahead of Rosen because they drafted Allen when Rosen was still available. But I do wonder, like, okay, if the Titans like any of these guys, Pickett, Willis, Corral, Ritter, Howell, if they like any of these guys, don't we have to start talking about what it's going to take in order to make sure the Titans are in a position to draft these guys? Like that the Titans can move up from 26 and get into the first round and get into 16 and pick these guys. I had Tony Pauline, who covers the draft for the Pro Football Network. Whatever. I had him on
Let's go Pro Football Network.
I had him on my Sirius show, and I was asking him about the rumors of Carolina taking a quarterback at 6. Mm-hmm. And he was like, no, don't do that. And I guess there's talk about Atlanta going quarterback at 8, but he thinks Atlanta is going to go wide receiver. And so a lot of these teams that are quarterback needy don't want to go quarterback in the top 10, but they're probably going to want to go quarterback. The Steelers are sitting there at 20. If they love Malik Willis as much as they've led people to believe that they love Malik Willis, then don't they have to kind of climb up a little bit to make sure that somebody doesn't leapfrog them to get Malik Willis?
And I think that's what the Saints have already done.
What if you love Malik Willis? Because he visited the Titans, and he's raw. And the one thing that the Titans have that the Steelers don't have, well, the Steelers could probably talk themselves into this, and Atlanta could probably talk themselves into this, but Carolina doesn't have, and Seattle doesn't have, and the Saints don't really have, is like Ryan Tannehill's the starting quarterback next year for the Titans. Mm-hmm. So they could, in theory, take Malik Willis, who Bill Polian today was talking about. Malik Willis doesn't take snaps from under center. Like, he's never taken a snap, apparently, under center. And Polian, that's what Polian said. And Polian was like, you have to learn how to do that in the NFL. Like, that's not an option to not take snaps from under center. And that it takes time to learn that. And I look at the big body of Willis, and I look at the arm of Willis, and I think about Floyd drafting Steve McNair over Kerry Collins and basically telling the media as soon as he took him, hey, he's not going to play for 2 years. And everybody's like, wait a minute, what? You just took a quarterback, 3rd overall? He's not going to play for a couple? Yep. And could you do that if you got your hands on Malik Willis? And what if Malik Willis was the one guy you loved? Everybody's saying you love Ritter, and then there's, I hear a lot of talk about Corral. I heard today, again, talking about Bill Polian. And I value Polian's opinion. I don't think it's the end-all, be-all of everything, but he's in the Hall of Fame. And Polian was talking about how he thinks Matt Corral has the it factor, but he's worried about the injuries, and he thinks he's got to take time to develop because he doesn't think Lane Kiffin's offense and the style with which they kind of dictate to the quarterback what to do works in the NFL.
And also, Matt Corral is kind of small.
I think that's a concern, too, and I think Polian did bring that up a little bit.
He's undersized.
But I think the question now has to be, if the Titans like a quarterback, then what? And I keep wondering, again, this goes between what they should do and what they will do. If they like a quarterback, like they really like him, then they have to do whatever it takes to get him. Unless it's a guy who's going to be gone by 6. Like, you can't do that. But if they like one of these guys, and they'll never tell you if they do, but if they do, and I know they don't have a right tackle, and I know they need help at wide receiver, and I know they, could always use more depth on defense, and I know Ryan Tannehill's starting at quarterback this year. But if they like one of these quarterbacks, they have to find a way to get them. Because I highly doubt in a year in which all the draft gurus and all their opinions are all over the place about these guys. I mean, Jordan Reed, who I've never really heard of, but I guess he's joined Kuiper and McShay and those guys.
Yeah, like Kuiper Jr. Kuiper in training, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, he had a mock draft that had Malik Willis going number 2 overall.
That's a little much for me.
And I'm not saying it. Look, I don't evaluate quarterbacks. I don't, whatever. But I mean, number 2 overall. But anywho, all these guys are all over the place with how they feel about these quarterbacks. And it's like, if there's one you like, you got to find a way to get them. And I don't care if that means going into next year's, into the coffers for next year. So I think anybody can kind of plan out what they want to plan out. But I do wonder, what are the Titans willing to do if they like a quarterback? Hold that thought, because I know you got one. 615-737-1025. There is a quarterback whom I have heard that the Titans really like. Or, excuse me, I haven't heard that the Titans like him, but the tea leaves say the Titans like him. And he had a couple of interesting talks. Talks may not be the right word. He had a couple interesting things to say that made me wonder if the Titans are in the mix. I'll explain that next. Stillman and Company right here at ESPN 102.5 The Game. Every Wednesday, it's me, Jared Stillman, against Joe Rexrode for Jared versus Joe. Brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment. Visit ParmanTractor.com, your Middle Tennessee link belt and Takeuchi dealer.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and Nashville SC's new home, Geodis Park, is nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Secure your season tickets now. Come on and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Trying to find a new home right now is next to impossible. Very little inventory, prices are crazy high, rates are moving up. Here's a better idea. Let my friends at Loan Pronto refinance your current home, turn all that equity you have into cash, and totally transform your house. A new kitchen, new bathroom, a pool. Think about it. Your home value is up. Instead of wasting all that on an overpriced new house, convert that equity into cash for a home makeover. One local couple did it and got $200,000 out. They added new hardwoods, an outdoor living space, a swimming pool with spa and all new cabinets and appliances, plus a home office. Now they have their dream home, and they never had to move. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their home improvement refi. Give your home a total makeover and do it now. You can even skip your next house payment in the process. Call now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval.
Erectile dysfunction ruins sex, but it's more than that. It harms otherwise good relationships. It destroys marriages. It can cause depression and anxiety, and it can be extremely hard on a man's self-esteem. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, if it's affecting you, I want you to know that if you're like most men, we can treat it and get you back to the man you used to be. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. Our protocols have success rates as high as 90%. We've successfully treated thousands of men in the Music City, and we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that could have you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour and experience great sex again that is satisfying for both you and your partner. In treating your health, expertise matters, so make an appointment today. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
The sound of you doing is music to our ears. Order on the Home Depot app and get convenient delivery, so you don't have to stop doing when you need something. The Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
You've shown in the past the ability to draft for future needs. With the quarterback position, how do you go about that process of figuring out when at that time to start drafting for eventual replacement?
Yeah, that's a great question, T. And it's we do our due diligence on all those cues. Certainly, the guys. There's some in certain drafts because you're picking at the back of the draft and they're going to go in the top 3 or 4 picks, but it's something that we're mindful of, and we work through those guys, and you're trying to find those guys that may be within striking distance, that may not come in and unseat, but you see a future for those guys. And we're doing that with this group here. Not saying we'll take one, but that's part of what our job is to look at all the position groups and see how and if they make sense for our football team, and then what path or what direction we would go down with those guys.
That's John Robinson in a roundabout way. By the way, I always love it. Anytime TD asks John Robinson a question, his response is always, "Good question, T." Every time.
Gotta hype up your dudes.
I know, but he can't include the other initial.
Well, maybe they're that close. They're that tight that they're on a one initial basis.
It's like TD is short for Teron Davenport, and John Robinson shortens it just to T.
Yeah.
Which shows you
that's how
much
tight
respect
they are.
he
Yeah.
has. So, and
you
I got respect
just
for
Jay
TD too.
if you'd like to be.
So, I mean, look, they didn't hide the fact, they didn't hide what it would take to look after a quarterback process when they were at the combine. Now, they weren't gonna, they weren't gonna let anything out of the bag, but they didn't hide anything. So Desmond Ritter, who has been linked to the Titans for a lot of different reasons. But I think the biggest reason why Ritter has been linked to the Titans is twofold. One, I think most people expect Ritter to be in there around the late first round. Mm-hmm. And two, because his college coach is best buddies with Vrabel, and Vrabel went to the pro day, and we know that Luke Fickell has been pumping the tires on Desmond Ritter. So he was on the Adam Shine podcast. Adam Shine's on CBS. He's a host on Sirius XM, and he's got a podcast. And he had Desmond Ritter on his podcast. And there were 3 interesting things that I heard that I kind of looked up, and I was like, the first was which quarterbacks Adam Shine asked him he compared himself to as far as the draft process is concerned.
Do you think your game compares to anyone who's currently playing in the NFL right now?
Yeah, I would say I kind of put it in a mixture of a couple, like Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, and a little bit of like Deshaun Watson. And I think those three guys combined, I feel like are kind of a mixture of my game.
What?
Interesting.
Now, we had heard at the Combine that he said he compared himself to Deshaun Watson and Ryan Tannehill. And we heard that, and we thought, boy, that's kissing some ass.
And then
we
you add
thought that
Marcus
is-
into the mix?
And now Marcus?
Which, to be fair, all respect to Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota, but if you're entering the NFL draft, don't you think you'd want to compare yourself to maybe a little bit of a more elite quarterback?
I would agree. But it does remind me in 2018 about how Floyd considered Josh Allen to be the same caliber of prospect as Ryan Leaf. And that I was listening to Bill Polian today talk about Josh Allen. And he was talking about how Josh Allen had an elongated delivery, which hampered his accuracy early in his career. And if you go back to the Combine, where he was throwing to receivers that he didn't really know, Allen was launching bullets, but he was also overshooting guys, undershooting guys. And Floyd said that was something that he noticed with Ryan Leaf, is that Ryan Leaf had like a great arm and would, fire it like a bazooka, but sometimes he'd throw the most beautiful pass, and then the next pass he'd throw would land 4 feet in the dirt. And it was the craziest thing. And Josh Allen was like that, but the difference is obviously the makeup of Josh Allen compared to the makeup and the tutelage of Ryan Leaf were very, very different. And I think that's kind of how I compare prospects. I have said, I believe in my heart that the Titans screwed up Mariota, that they put him in a no-win situation with a horrible coach and no offensive line, and immediately fired the horrible coach, and they had a horrible team and no wide receivers, and then they went out and got him an offensive line and got him DeMarco Murray, and Mariota looked like a player, and then DeMarco Murray got hurt, and then they fired that coach, and they brought in a new coach, and then he got hurt, and then they brought in another coordinator for Mariota, and then, all the pressure was on him in year 5 to succeed, and I think the pressure he buckled under. But I'm with you about comparing yourself to Mariota, normally you want to compare yourself to a good quarterback.
Patrick Mahomes.
You don't want to compare yourself to Tyrod Taylor. So unless you are just kissing the freaking rings, you wouldn't say that you compare yourself to Mariota or Tannehill. And he says he compares himself to Mariota and Tannehill. And I almost have to think, as far as the Titans drafting this guy, because a lot of people have thrown out the Mariota comparison. If he is Mariota, do you even want him? Now, again, I think Mariota was a very talented player that had some issues he had to work on that he didn't. And then I think the pressure and the injuries got to him, and Ritter hasn't had that problem yet. The second thing Ritter said that I found, when I heard the question asked, I was like, oh. And then his answer kind of threw me for a loop. It was whether or not he had bonded with other coaches. He had talked about the Seahawks a little bit. He had been asked directly about a couple of teams like the Seahawks and the Steelers he had been asked about. Mm-hmm. And he was asked, were there any other coaches that he felt like he bonded to? Here's what Desmond Ritter said.
Have there been any other specific teams or coaches during this process that maybe you've bonded with over the last few weeks or few months?
Yeah, there's a handful of coaches, from a couple different teams. But, I think for myself, it's just really trying to find the right fit and being myself with everyone and seeing just, who kind of you gel with the most.
Oh, man, when I heard that question, are there any other coaches that, you've bonded with? I was like,
Vrabel.
Oh, if he says Mike Vrabel, if he says Mike Vrabel, that's a 4-hour discussion on this show today about Desmond Ritter if he says Mike Vrabel. If he says oh, yeah, I'll take you heard what he said. I've bonded with a bunch of coaches from a couple different teams. And it's if he said Vrabel and Downing, and if he said those guys, oh, my God. But then I thought about his answer, right? His answer was such a well-trained answer. I've bonded with, coaches from different teams, but I'm just
no
really,
specifics.
Looking for the right fit for me. And I'm like, I could see Vrabel talking to this kid every day, as much as it's allowed or not allowed. I could see Vrabel all in on this kid and being like, if you repeat a word of this, I will never take you on my team. Because there is an element of, keeping it in the family with Vrabel. Mm-hmm. there's an element of that like, if I can't trust you to keep your mouth shut now, can I really trust you to be my quarterback? And Vrabel's that kind of guy that, like, if you screw him on the front end, he will not draft you.
And that's really what I was thinking when I was hearing his answer, because in my head I was thinking, if he says Vrabel, I bet that would piss Vrabel off.
Oh, Vrabel would lose his marbles.
Because it's giving a peek behind the curtain that Mike Vrabel never wants to give.
And you wonder, too, if Fickle was like, hey, like, don't ever tell anybody about anything that Vrabel says to you.
Because, I mean, you have to think that they probably do have some sort of relationship, however strong it is or not, because Desmond Ritter's coach is Mike Vrabel's best friend.
And not only that, a lot of these players, like, they want to go the highest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to go number one because the money's the best when you go very high. But in reality, you want to go for the fit that's right for you. I mean, we saw Eli Manning refuse to play for the Chargers because they were a crummy organization. We saw John Elway refuse to play for the Colts because I think Frank Kush was their coach, and Jack Elway hated Frank Kush. And so he didn't want to play for the Colts. And I think that, you know, if you're Ritter, like, and you want to go to the Titans, you know, like, that is something where if you want to go to the Titans, what quarterbacks do you compare to? Mariota and Tannehill. And let me throw in another guy who's good in Deshaun Watson, just so everybody doesn't think that my whole goal in life is to be mediocre. And then if you bonded with any coaches, yeah, but I'm just looking for the right fit for me. Yeah, I have. Vrabel, Downing, Pat O'Hara, Tim Kelly, John Robinson.
Well, he didn't say
I bonded
that.
with those guys. No. But, like, if that's the right fit for him, and he thinks that's the right fit for him,
those are the guys
that
who
could
he's
be an
bonded
allusion
with.
to what he's talking to. But to your point, had he said Vrabel, that would have disqualified him, in my opinion, from the
It would have
Titans
been a
picking
red
him.
flag.
It would have been, at that point, the Titans would have 88 and out the gate, see ya. And I find this to be so fascinating.
And if he would have said really any other coach.
Hold that thought. 615-737-1025. And then there was another Desmond Ritter thought that he said that I was kind of like, okay. Like, I'm sure some people will love it. I am not one of them, but we'll get into that coming up next and get to your phone. 615-737-1025. This week's deal, the Nashville's best deal, is 312 Pizza Company. 312 Pizza Company serves the best pizza in town, as well as Chicago-style eats like Chicago dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, and more. Head to theGameNashville.com/deals now to get half off a $30 gift card to 312 Pizza Company while supplies last. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 6, we go behind the glass with current and former Predators players, along with coaches and broadcasters for Smashville Live.
Yost, Hal, and I were just talking about last night's game. It was a big game for us.
Presented by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Now through April 14th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends April 14th. See club for details.
Realizing Geico has over 85 years of experience saving folks money and providing great customer service is like realizing there's a crumb tray on the bottom of your toaster, and you don't have to keep turning the toaster upside down to clean it.
How long has that been there? Hey, who needs some croutons?
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or realizing that baby carrots are just regular carrots that have been shaved down.
I don't care. They're still cute.
It's something you can't believe you never realized before. Like how Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating means Geico is committed to providing the best service for their customers. Or how you can peel the top layer of tape off a lint roller and there's a fresh layer underneath.
Marcy, wait till you hear about the lint roller.
You mean how the handle is reusable?
Wait, what?
Trust. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Genesis Diamond's most anticipated event of the year is coming next weekend, April 22nd through 24th. Huge store-wide savings, plus thousands of new, unique designs from the biggest names in jewelry. All new collections, 2 years in the making, from names like Tacori, Verragio, and more. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, many never seen before, and all specially priced for this 3-day event. Save up to 35%, zero interest financing. Bring your old jewelry and trade up. April 22nd through 24th, only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Seltzer Land is turning Nashville into a hard seltzer paradise on Saturday, April 30th at Riverside Golf Links. Enjoy this one-of-a-kind immersive experience as you spend the day tasting over 100 unique hard seltzers, indulge in great food, tons of seltzer swag, and bust out your Instagram for the best photo moment. Seltzer Land has rounded up the best hard seltzer brands in the land for one epic day dedicated to the bubbly brew everyone can't get enough of. You don't want to miss out on Seltzer Land 2022, April 30th at Riverside Golf Links.
Harman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution, and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Harman is now hiring and seeking qualified candidates for construction equipment truck drivers, service technicians, and more. Apply at parmantractor.com or call 615-865-7800. Come be an employee owner with the Parman team, your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Nashville, this is Dan Lebitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena. Got a lot of things to tell all of you about. Preds fans, join us for Smashville Live tomorrow night on 102.5 The Game, featuring Preds players Jeremy Lozon and David Riddick. Smashville Live airs on Wednesdays during the Preds season from 6 to 7, and you can watch via 102.5 The Game's Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to join us for Smashville Live all season long, brought to you by New Amsterdam Vodka, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, and Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. So Desmond Ritter compares himself to Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, and Deshaun Watson. What? Unless he's trying to get the attention of somebody. And he talked about how he's bonded with some coaches, but he's looking for the right fit. So Desmond Ritter was asked an interesting question by Adam Shine. Again, this is the Adam Shine podcast. He was asked an interesting question. And listen to the confidence in which Desmond Ritter talks with when it talks about going in the first round. Because if I were to say to you, what % chance does Desmond Ritter, the quarterback at Cincinnati, have of going in the first round, what would you give it?
Probably more likely than not.
But give me a percentage.
Probably 70%.
Okay, I was going to say like 55-45. Like, I think it's kind of right there. Ritter was asked about going in the first round. Here's what he said.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be selected in the first round. Like I said, I've done everything that I can do throughout, all these events, the Pro Day, Combine, Senior Bowl, and, I've put my best foot forward at every single one. And then, like we've talked about earlier, continuing to put my best foot forward through these meetings. And letting everyone see who I am and have nothing to hide. And so, like I said, I feel like I'm the best quarterback in this class. And why wouldn't I go in the first round?
So I have a couple of thoughts. One, is it like, hey, if you're there at 26, we'll take you? Do you think the Titans have communicated that to Ritter? Because Ritter has shown his ass as far as, in my opinion, his desire to play for the Titans. Mariota, he went to the Senior Bowl and said that he models his game after Tannehill and Deshaun Watson. Now he says he models his game after Mariota, Tannehill, and Deshaun Watson.
Interesting. What do 2 of the 3 quarterbacks have in common?
Vrabel went to his pro day. Fickle is his coach. It wouldn't surprise me if if there's a whole plan. Floyd told me that when they drafted Vince Young, there was a plan. And that Bud Adams screwed the plan up because Steve McNair showed up with a big contract. And had McNair gotten hurt lifting weights at the facility, then they would have been responsible for the big contract that they had agreed that they were going to rework, and McNair was on board with. But because they kicked McNair out of the facility, McNair felt disrespected, and at that point he was done with the Titans, and that screwed the whole plan up. But apparently, the way it was told to me was that there was a plan. Floyd was okay with the plan. Jeff Fisher was okay with the plan. Vince Young was okay with the plan. Buzz Cook, who was the agent, I believe, for both Young and McNair, was aware of the plan, and Steve McNair was aware of the plan, and that was that Steve McNair was going to be the starting quarterback in 2006. He was going to rework his contract. Vince Young was going to be the backup. Steve McNair, who Vince looked up to, would be, kind of his mentor. And then after a year or two, Steve would retire and Vince would take over the team. And everybody was on board with that plan. Well, would it not be of note if there's a plan and Vrabel's on board with the plan and Robinson's on board with the plan and Fickle's on board with the plan and Ritter's on board with the plan, and then you draft him and then you got to get Tannehill on board with the plan. But I think Tannehill would be on board with the plan. Hey, go play great, Tannehill, and then you'll go out there and be able to get a new contract next year from some team that'll trade for you, because as we've seen across the league, if you show you can play quarterback, someone's going to pay you a bunch of money. It just won't be us. And so I wonder that. The only other thing that creeps into my mind here is, could the memo be for Arthur and not for Mike and John? Could he have added Mariota to the mix? Because the one guy, like Matt Ryan, did not have a good year last year in Atlanta for whatever reason. So the one guy that is kind of like the legacy of Arthur Smith's creation is the 2 years of Tannehill with Arthur as the coordinator here. And I think that's a big check on Arthur's resume, because Tannehill sucked last year without him. And so now Arthur's gone out and gotten Mariota, and they're picking 8. And I think that Atlanta, if they want to take Ritter, would be wise to move back and then take him. Could this have been a memo to Arthur? That's the only other thing I could think of.
Perhaps, but then why keep Tannehill in the mix?
Because Arthur created Tannehill. So it's like, yeah, I want to be just like your guy, Arthur, the guy that you made. And he made Tannehill.
But don't you think, as a quarterback, the Titans are a much more attractive landing spot than Atlanta at this point?
Atlanta has the 8th overall pick and a more direct route to playing. Like if Atlanta uses the 8th overall pick, or they slide back to 13, or they slide back to 16, and they love Ritter and they take him, then that's better than going to the Titans at 26. Though I would agree that the Titans, in theory, are a better organization. But in Atlanta, you're going to sit maybe behind Marcus, but you might take the job from Marcus. Desmond Ritter, if he gets drafted by the Titans, is not going to be the starting quarterback next year. And most young quarterbacks would rather play than not play. Let's go to your phones. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Chris has been waiting patiently, going to get us started off here on Ryan Tannehill. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Caroline and Jared. Hey,
give your take, Chris. Go.
You're talking about Desmond Ritter, but I want to backtrack just a little bit. A while back, and I want to preface this by saying, I love you, Jared, man. My
Chris, get to the take.
My heart pumps blue blood for you, bro.
Thank you. Please get to the take.
Yeah, you were complaining that Darren was complaining about the Malkin incident and going off, and I found it, in which Darren does go off sometimes, especially when he's sparring with Willie. But bro, you are the king of whiners. Now, come on. How can you put him down when you are way ahead of him in that category? Am I
Chris,
right,
did you
Caroline?
text this into the text line earlier today?
No.
Were you the one who texted this into the text line that was like, don't be mad at Darren for 2 days of complaining about Evgeny Malkin's penalty when you complained about Tannehill? The bigger issue with Tannehill is the fact that he's still the quarterback. The Malkin thing is over.
I agree, but Jared, that wasn't me that texted that in. But I was driving home and I laughed out loud when you was talking about Darren, because I mean, you are the king of whiners.
God, this is a horrible call. Thank you, Chris. This is all like, keep us on target, please, for right now on the quarterbacks. Again, Evgeny Malkin slashed and cross-checked Mark Borvietsky the other day. He got 4 games and was suspended. Darren was mad about it yesterday. He was mad about it today, and I said move on. The end. What do we have in the text line? Please keep us on the quarterbacks.
Andrew texts in and says, with our record of horrific drafted quarterbacks, I'm not dying to jump right back into the legs
that
of
is so stupid.
Blocker, and Mettenberger.
That is so stupid. Like, good God. I mean, I think the caller already set me off into this.
I think that you're just mad about the caller.
That text is so stupid. What does Zach Mettenberger, who was drafted by Ken Wisenhunt, whom Ken Wisenhunt loves so much that he gave him his daughter's hand in marriage, literally. What does that have to do with John Robinson and Mike Vrabel picking a quarterback in the first round this year?
Well, it's the same argument as a lot of Titans fans saying, well, Tannehill's better than what we've had in the past.
But it's a worse argument.
But what does Tannehill have to do with past quarterbacks?
It's a worse argument because it's stupid. Zach Mettenberger was like a 6th-round pick.
And, like, I understand Titans fans having a little bit of PTSD about past-drafted quarterbacks, but you're just going to stay where you are and remain stagnant because you're so afraid of drafting a bad quarterback?
I'm sure Buffalo Talk Radio, I'm sure when they drafted Josh Allen, it was like, I mean, we've already been through this with J.P. Lossman, and we've been through this with E.J. Manuel, and we've been through this with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and we've been through this, so why draft Josh Allen? But, I mean, good night. You're going to tell me about Zach Mettenberger? That's like the people that text in and say things like, well, John Robinson, when I say that John Robinson hasn't picked a quarterback. The only picking of quarterback John Robinson has done in his 6 years as general manager of the Titans is John Robinson picked Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion, over Tom Brady. That's the only one. Now, that's a pretty big one, but that's the only one. Other than that, he didn't pick Marcus. And then people say, well, he drafted Luke Falk in the 6th round of 2018, and he drafted Cole McDonald in 2020. I mean, those are just freaking guys. Like, those are just, like, nobodies. Like, those are just
6th and 7th round picks. They're just
I mean, the odds of Brady are like, I mean, how many quarterbacks that are starting in the NFL outside of Brady right now are picked after the 5th round? Or the 5th round or later?
Yeah, I don't
think there's a single other one. Like, I'm thinking in my head, like, guys that were picked in the 5th round or later. Because I think Kirk Cousins was picked in the 4th round. I think Dak Prescott was picked in the 4th round.
Was he really?
Yeah, I think, like, I'm trying to think in my head, like, Gus Frerotte is, like, the next guy that comes to mind for me. You know, Tony Romo was undrafted. Mm-hmm. But, like, how many of those guys exist? Seriously. So I don't hold Cole McDonald against John Robinson when he drafted him in the 6th round, taking a flyer on a guy, when he had Ryan Tannehill, who he just signed to a $100 million contract. So this, like, but to sit there and, like, argue Zach Mettenberger? Oh, my God.
We're looking at more as a franchise view rather than who's actually doing the picking. And
do we have any good texter calls today? Because I'm getting close to shutting the phones off for today. I mean, those two back-to-back just have sent me up a wall.
Our good friend Indy Ben texts in and says, I would be thrilled if the Titans drafted Ritter.
I mean, what the hell does he know, though? Like, that's the thing. Like, I tell you about Ritter. Like, if you were to say, hey.
What the hell does anyone know about any of these quarterbacks?
Well, but see, that's the difference. Like, there's a Todd McShay thing. Like, and it's Todd McShay's job to watch the film. But basically, you know, Bill Belichick believes, and, you know, Bill might be right. He might be wrong. I don't know. Bill believes that two things matter at quarterback: accuracy and decision-making. Those are the two things that Belichick cares about: accuracy and decision-making. And Todd McShay, at one point, was breaking down Desmond Ritter, and this has nothing to do with Belichick, but Todd McShay said that Ritter's biggest problems are accuracy and decision-making. Well, that would tell me that you go ahead and rule him out for Belichick, which makes me think, if you rule him out for Belichick, doesn't that kind of mean rule him out for Robinson too? Like, Robinson came from that. And so,
unless he doesn't think those are Desmond Ritter's problems.
But again, like, that's, you know, Todd McShay has actually watched these guys. Like, Bill Polian
I'm sure
has
John
watched
Robinson
these
has
guys,
also watched these guys.
But Indy Ben has not. Like, that's my take of, like, I'd be so thrilled if they drafted like, what do we know about Desmond Ritter? That's the thing where, like, when it's an NFL player, it's one thing, because you've seen that guy in the NFL. When it's not an NFL player, when it's these college kids, unless I know the kid or I know, like, something about the kid, or I didn't think Lamar Jackson was going to work in the NFL. I watch him play every college game. Like, the idea of, like, I have no idea about Ritter. I have no idea about Corral. I have no idea about Sam Howell. I have no idea about any of these guys. I mean, today Bill Polian said that Carson Strong's a better prospect than Sam Howell. I don't know if he's right or wrong. I mean, most of the draft nicks say no, but I don't know. But, oh, God, I mean, the idea of, like, as a Colts fan, I'd be so happy if they drafted that guy. I've never thought about it like that. Like, how do you know? You don't even know. Polian today had a great line in which Polian said that 40% of all this stuff, nobody who talks about it has any idea, which is essentially the mental evaluations of the players, and that the teams are not letting those out. So if the Titans have a mental evaluation of Desmond Ritter as compared to Carson Strong, as compared to Bailey Zappi, as compared to, they're not letting them out. They will not let that happen. And I'm like, that's a pretty big deal. You know, like that's a pretty big deal.
Especially at that position, at the quarterback position, that's kind of
and no one's going to tell you.
Job.
And if somebody tells you, they're probably lying to you. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. The take of the day, which I want to get to next, and we'll hit the headlines because there's a lot going on, especially out of Washington. Goodness gracious, we'll get to that. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025. Hey, join ESPN 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. Sign up at thegamenashville.com/golf.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. Partly to mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the day. High temperature up to 78 degrees. Another round of rain moves in overnight. Severe weather possible tomorrow.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
If you're looking to hire, look to Indeed. With Indeed's hiring platform, you can attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the Don't Sell Without the Intel and the Guaranteed Offer Guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed Offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
The NBA play-in tournament is here, and FanDuel Sportsbook is going to hook you up. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays on FanDuel Sportsbook, and you'll get an instant bonus, win or lose. That's right. Not only do you get to enjoy the NBA's best duking it out for the right to advance to the playoffs, but FanDuel is giving all customers a bonus for getting in on the action. And the more you bet, the bigger your bonus. I think you have to like the Nets and Kevin Durant with Kyrie Irving together, and you can make same-game parlays based off of that. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA. Their app is safe to use, and you'll get your winnings fast. New to FanDuel, sign up with the promo code JGM to make every moment more. So don't just watch the NBA play-in tournament. Be a part of it. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays and get instant bonuses. That's right, win or lose. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $100. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Out on the trail today, I noticed the signs of spring. A purple lilac, a monarch butterfly, crisp, cool air, and fresh, bright sunshine. And all this beauty puts me in the mood to head over to my favorite adult beverage depot, Red Spirits and Wine, where I can load up the wagon with the best wines, whiskey, and brews to wet my whistle. At Red, you'll always find the best selection and value, but their Cracker Jack crew is flat out second to none. Just square-dealing folks and straight shooters with great recommendations, and they never come off like some of those big-talking fancy pantsers that are just totally full of, well, let's just say fertilizer. Red Spirits and Wine is the only place I do my trading, and once you've seen Red, there just ain't no sense in looking elsewhere. It's like British pop singer Billy Ocean once said, no more love on the run. Red Spirits and Wine is the real deal. Open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard. And follow Red on Facebook and Instagram as well. We'll see you at Red.
Meshing journalism.
They are 2 scores behind you. The math says that increases your chances of winning.
With sports fandom.
I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, just emotionally numb from Titans and Packers.
And sarcasm.
You guys are the worst.
Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robby and Rexrode. No duh. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company. Hey, stop by Social Furniture. Again, if you want to see the Preds on Saturday, stop by Social Furniture at 5412 Charlotte Avenue in Nashville now and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Predators take on the Blackhawks at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday, April 16th. And don't forget to check out their new sofas while you're there. Must be 18 to enter the contest. No purchase is necessary. The take of the day today, which I want to reset for the people out here that we started the show off with, is that I have guaranteed that the Predators, who are playing the terrible and crummy and have lost 6 in a row San Jose Sharks, I have guaranteed that the Predators will win tonight. And I'm willing to put $500 on the Predators minus 1.5 because the payout on the puck line is not good enough. So I am willing to pay $500 for the Predators to win or lose. And again, I am guaranteeing that they will win for the first time, a guarantee since February of 2020. So it has been over 3 years since I have done this. They will win tonight. Time now for headlines with Caroline. Or not. Or yes.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company. Right here on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Death, taxes, the Washington Commanders doing stupid things to hurt their football team.
You could say death, taxes, and Dan Snyder not paying taxes because that's
that is also fair. That is also the case. So there was a letter sent in from the House Committee on Oversight and Reform into the Federal Trade Commission today saying that the Washington Commanders and Dan Snyder, quote, may have engaged in a troubling, long-running, and potentially unlawful pattern of financial conduct. I think you could also say that they have a long history of just flat-out troubling, long-running, and potentially unlawful activity. It says that he allegedly involved withholding up to $5 million in refundable deposits from season ticket holders and also hiding money that was supposed to be shared among NFL owners. So Jason Friedman, a longtime former VP of Sales and Customer Service who worked with the franchise for 24 years, provided the committee with information and documents indicating that the Commanders routinely withheld security deposits that could have been returned to customers who had purchased multi-year season tickets for specific seats, known as seat leases. So they withheld about 2,000 accounts, withheld money from 2,000 accounts that equaled up to about $5 million. Also said that there were 2 sets of financial books within the Washington Commanders, 1 set of financial records used to underreport certain ticket revenue to the NFL, and 1 actual book of finances. So a lot coming out about the Washington Commanders and their financial unreporting.
So Pat McAfee's been banging the drum on this for a couple of weeks about kicking Dan Snyder out of the NFL. Now, I mean, Dan Snyder's got to go. But
I mean, this is like,
do you know why?
Violation 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, that stuff, again, they're allegations, but that stuff will get you sent to jail. But what's crazy about, because it's fraud, but what's crazy about McAfee just going nuts and banging the drum about getting Dan Snyder kicked out of the league is I think that's coming from Irsay. Like, I think that's Irsay telling McAfee, we got to get this freaking guy out of the league.
Well, that affects their money.
And
of course,
so,
NFL owners want him out of the league.
Oh, well, Jerry Jones. I mean, it's kind of.
I mean,
off the
we're
record,
talking millions of dollars here.
Jerry wants Snyder out of the league, and I do believe that. I think they want Snyder out of the league before all this, but they haven't really been willing to kind of send the death knell. I do wonder if Dan Snyder, because Dan Snyder has been very much a part when we think about the owners in the league that have had some influence over the years. Arthur Blank, Jerry Richardson of the Panthers, Robert Kraft of the Patriots, Jerry Jones. That like Snyder's been part of that crew, and you wonder what Snyder knows that has kept Goodell, or what he did that has kept Goodell from going all in on Snyder. And this may be too much. And I think these other owners want him out of there. But, again, those are allegations. But the allegations are so serious that if they're remotely true, then Dan Snyder's biggest worry is not whether or not he's going to get to keep his team, but it's more so whether or not he's going to get to go to jail. What's next?
So the Packers obviously running it back with Jordan Love as their backup for the 2022 season, but now going on 3 years since he was drafted, limited snaps, and what we've seen from Jordan Love whenever Aaron Rodgers was out with COVID wasn't too thrilling. But Packers president Mark Murphy said that the team still believes in Jordan Love, but says we think he can be a good player, but we haven't seen enough. And they're okay, reportedly, with Jordan Love acclimating slowly to the league because the team, quote, doesn't want to rush his development. But he also added about Aaron Rodgers, which I thought was pretty interesting, that Aaron is still playing at a high level and that he wants to keep playing, but it's probably a year-by-year thing now.
I think the bigger thing is the Jordan Love stuff, and it reminds me of a story that a guy I used to work with in Louisville by the name of Adam Lefko, who's now like kind of the backup to Ernie Johnson on TNT and does the Tuesday games. Adam Lefko told me that he was working for Bleacher Report at the Super Bowl a couple years ago when the Alex Smith to Washington trade was announced. And that one of the Bleacher Report features they were doing was he was playing current NFL players in Madden. And so the trade gets announced, and Travis Kelce, as soon as they start the game, pauses it and puts Patrick Mahomes in and takes Alex Smith out. And I think it was pretty obvious to everybody there at Kansas City that Patrick Mahomes was going to be really special.
Yeah.
That even though, Alex clearly wasn't the guy, they treated Alex with the utmost respect. They talk about Alex with just absolute reverence, and yet they knew it was time to move on because they knew of what they had. I go back to when Aaron got his start. It wasn't like they were sitting there saying, please come back, Brett. It was like, okay, Aaron,
we're ready.
Get in there. And I believe that the Packers and their desire to keep Aaron Rodgers is as much of a reflection of the fact that they know that Jordan Love's not any good, more so than it is like we just know Aaron is so good.
You think more so than Aaron Rodgers being good?
Yeah, I mean, like
they can go out and get another backup. You can't go out and get another Aaron Rodgers.
Was not even like Belichick didn't put the full court press on to keep his quarterback. He had the greatest quarterback of all time,
who was aging,
and he wasn't right, but he was.
Aaron Rodgers is too, yeah.
I mean, Aaron is such an a-hole that if you could move on from Aaron and still be good at quarterback, you would do it. But because they can't, they have to essentially, they have to basically coalesce and they have to give Aaron whatever he wants. So, I mean, look, the Packers know Jordan Love's not any good. I mean, that's a bust.
Yeah.
It's a busted pick. And I just would be worried if I was Matt LaFleur. Everyone's going to think Matt LaFleur is a great coach. This is the same guy who kept Derrick Henry off the bench. Everyone's going to think Matt LaFleur is a great coach until Matt LaFleur has to coach without Aaron Rodgers. And then we'll see.
And we saw that with Bill Belichick.
Those are headlines. Well, Belichick made the playoffs last year. We'll see with Matt LaFleur. Those are the headlines with Caroline. Coming up next, there is a player that might be available to the Titans in the draft that just screams Titans to me. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There is going to be a whole lot of work going on.
Shoot us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Your ankles, feet, and knees help you walk, run, jump, and climb. Because of the stress placed on these joints, arthritis may occur, and lower limb injuries are common injuries treated by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Their specially trained orthopedics can treat your pain non-surgically with non-inflammatory medications to reduce swelling and orthotics that support the pads, arch, or ankle joint. Your doctor may recommend a brace, custom shoes, or physical therapy as part of your treatment. Visit tn.houston.com to book an appointment for a physician to discuss your lifestyle, your goals, and determine the best treatment to fit your needs.
Pro Golf is back in Middle Tennessee. Mark your calendars for the Simmons Bank Open, May 5th through 8th. You can see the next wave of PGA Tour stars. Be sure to visit the Sand Trap at the 14th hole and check out great local food trucks including Hattie B's, Hogwood Barbecue, Dream Burger, Padrino Pops, cocktails from Jack Daniels, and try the Sand Trap Cream Ale from New Heights Brewing Company. Purchase your tickets now at SimmonsBankOpen.com.
Music City. Start a profitable new chapter of your life and be your own boss with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. In fact, no matter where you are, from Green Hills to the Gulch to down in Franklin, if you can hear my voice, there's an affordable, profitable Little Guys franchise opportunity nearby. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Join a team with 30 plus years of growth and good times. Learn more at littleguysfranchise.com. That's littleguysfranchise.com. And then make that call.
Erectile dysfunction ruins sex, but it's more than that. It harms otherwise good relationships. It destroys marriages. It can cause depression and anxiety, and it can be extremely hard on a man's self-esteem. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with ED, if it's affecting you, I want you to know that if you're like most men, we can treat it and get you back to the man you used to be. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we're ED experts. Our protocols have success rates as high as 90%. We've successfully treated thousands of men in the Music City, and we have a variety of treatment options and treatment combinations that could have you performing like you haven't in years. You could even last up to an hour and experience great sex again that is satisfying for both you and your partner. In treating your health, expertise matters, so make an appointment today. Your initial appointment is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live in the Hillside Medical Game Studios, where the Predators tonight at Bridgestone Arena take on the San Jose Sharks, and we have guaranteed a Predators victory today. But the NFL draft is 2 weeks and 2 days away. Trevor will be joining us in less than 30 minutes. We'll get his thoughts. But there is one player that the more I look into it, the more I'm like, you know what? The Titans, if they're in a position, and it's a big if the Titans are in this position, the Titans are going to make this pick. And I think after you've been around long enough, you start to develop a pattern. Mm-hmm. Even if you're trying to throw people off their game, you really can't, because at the end of the day, like, people are going to decide for their own, like, okay, this is what you like. You know, I like, Ian can hear something and know after 6 years of producing this show that, like, I will like that topic, or what so-and-so said I will like us to talk about. And John Robinson's now been the general manager for 6 years, and I think we kind of pick up on some tendencies. And so when I look through the draft and I'm like, what says Titans? What is this? What is that? I was hosting my SiriusXM show on Sunday on Mad Dog Sports Radio, I should say Saturday, and I had Tony Pauline from the Pro Football Network, who's their draft analyst, on the show. And I was asking about the wide receiver class, because we've been told this is a really good wide receiver class, right?
Yes.
So I asked Tony Pauline about how good the wide receiver class is. Here's what Tony Pauline said. Are these receivers in this draft that good?
They're okay. I don't think it's an unbelievable draft class. I don't think it's as good as last year or the prior 2 years. I think there's a lot of good talent in day 2, and you're still going to be able to come away in the second or third round with a good receiver. I mean, Garrett Wilson is a nice receiver. He could go 10 to the Jets, but he's not an elite receiver. The only potential elite receiver in this year's draft may have been Jamison Williams, and now he's dealing with a late knee injury, a torn ACL that he suffered in that national championship game. Drake London of USC, real good pass catcher, but he's a bigger guy. Even though he's smooth and fluid, he's going to struggle to separate on Sundays. Chris Olave, I happen to have a soft spot for Chris Olave. I think he's underrated, a great vertical receiver, but he's not a stout guy. You're going to be able to get a good receiver in this draft. It doesn't have to be in the first round.
Okay, so he told you right there. These are all good receivers, great receivers. There might be one, and he's got a torn ACL. Jamison Williams out of Alabama. And I can just hear Titan fans right now rolling their eyes at the idea of John Robinson drafting another injured player. And I get it. But the tendency is there. John Robinson does not care about a torn ACL. He drafted Jeffrey Simmons in the first round with a torn ACL. He signed Bud Dupree coming off of a torn ACL. Hell, he just traded for Robert Woods coming off of a torn ACL. So he does not care. And I keep thinking to myself, this just screams Titans. Now, if you look at a lot of the mock drafts, there looks to be like a run on receivers. And I looked at Bruce Feldman, who's not a draft analyst, but he's a college football reporter. And Bruce Feldman talked to college coaches when it came to these draft picks. And he's got a lot of receivers going off the board. And if you look at the draft, Kansas City's going to need receivers. Indianapolis is going to need receivers. Green Bay's going to need receivers. Atlanta's going to need receivers. The Jets are trying to get receivers. Like, everybody's going to want receivers. But this guy's got a torn ACL. And if you're Atlanta and you need to replace Julio Jones from 2 years ago and you need to replace Russell Gage from this year, you probably can't take a guy who's hurt and say, okay, we're going to wait a year on you. If you're Green Bay, for instance, you probably can't take Jamison Williams and say, all right, guys, we will be fine. I know we lost Devontae. I know we lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling, but it's going to be okay because we drafted Jamison Williams, and he might not be able to play till November 1st. You can't do that. But I'm reading Bruce Feldman, and I'm reading what he wrote in The Athletic and the coaches he talked to. And a coach said this, quote, his speed is ridiculous. He runs away from people who are fast and makes them not look fast. He could be in the slot. He can run a deep crossing route. He is a dangerous return guy. He has elite speed, ball skills, and body control. A lot of guys are fast, but they can't really control their body. He comes out of his break so well and tracks the ball well, and it's his ability to move laterally that really separates him. Now, there is a question about the fact that he couldn't get on the field at Ohio State and what that means about Jamison Williams. But I can see teams going for Drake London even if they don't see him as a better receiver because he can play right away. I can see teams going for Garrett Wilson. I can see teams going for Chris Olave. And I can see Jamison Williams, if he's the best receiver in this class at 26 with the Titans on the board, I can see the Titans convincing themselves, we're getting the best receiver in this draft. Just like last year when Caleb Farley had what I consider a much more serious injury and much more questionable injury than a torn ACL, and the Titans at 21 picked him because they believed we're getting the best corner in this draft. And I believe that Jamison Williams is such a good football player that Alabama might have won the national championship game if he didn't tear his knee up on that turf. And he tore his knee right up on that turf before halftime, and you could just feel Alabama in the second half playing without him. You could just feel it. You know, it was like, my goodness gracious, if they had that guy, Georgia couldn't cover him. Now they got all these other receivers out, which is pretty amazing for Alabama because it's normally such a factory that they just plug somebody else in. But if he had been out there, I think they could have won the championship. NFL.com had their experts pick who the best wide receiver was. And I'm like looking through it, and it's all like these, it's like Willie McGinnis and David Carr, and I hate to break it to you, but I don't care what Willie McGinnis thinks about wide receivers. Willie McGinnis has never played wide receiver. Willie McGinnis has never evaluated wide receivers. He has never been a scout. He has never been a general manager. He has never been a head coach. What does Willie McGinnis know about wide receivers? But I skipped down to Mark Ross because Mark Ross is a former general manager. And Mark Ross said, Jamison Williams. Now, the knee's a concern, but Jamison Williams. And I just see that, and I know the tendencies of the Titans, and I know what the Titans have at wide receiver. And so I know that if they took Jamison Williams, because Robert Woods will be back by October 1st, but the reality is Robert Woods is probably going to play week 1. Like, I think he'll be back to being Robert Woods by October 1st, but he'll be back on the team probably by week 1. But it would just be so Titans to look at that board and say, he's the best receiver in this class. He's a game breaker. Treylon Burks is good, but he runs a 4.55. Chris Olave's good, but he'll be way gone. Garrett Wilson and Drake London, no chance to get them. But this guy might be better than those guys. That's what the college coach tells Bruce Feldman. That's what Tony Pauline of the Pro Football Network told me. That's what Mark Ross of the NFL Network wrote at NFL.com. These guys love Jamison Williams. And if there's a team out there that's going to take an injured player with a torn ACL, it's got to be the Titans. And I know, I'm sure the text line will explode and people will say, well, the Titans can't do this, Jerry. They've got a need at right tackle, and they've got to. That didn't stop them 3 years ago when they drafted A.J. Brown. It's a torn ACL. It is not a ruptured brain vessel. Those are two very different things. And they've shown that they're going to go after it. So I see this. Now, I would worry about Kansas City because Kansas City right now can go into, they don't have to draft a receiver, but they got so many picks in the Tyreek Hill deal. They got so many picks that they could, in theory, go into this draft and not be able to wait on Jamison Williams and take him because of his speed and have that be what replaces Tyreek Hill eventually. I can't see the Packers drafting him. Who's going to play wide receiver for Aaron if they draft him and he's not back till November 1st? But this just feels to me like I see Jamison Williams and I just see Titans. When Tony Pauline says he's the best wide receiver in this draft, I just see Titans. Because the Titans love convincing themselves that they're getting the 5th best player in a draft with the 19th pick in Simmons, with the 21st pick in Farley, and this year with the 26th pick in Jamison Williams. He will be on their list. Now, he might go before that, but he will be on their list. We'll get your reaction, Caroline, to that. Ian, we'll get your thoughts on it. But again, when Tony Pauline said to me that Jamison Williams was the best wide receiver, the most likely wide receiver to be a star in this draft, coupled with the injury the Titans love, coupled with everybody else saying he's the guy, and he's a Nick Saban guy, it just seems to me just to say Titans. We'll get that in your draft thoughts. 615-737-1025, Stillman & Company. We are live at Bridgestone Arena today. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And let me tell all the fine folks out there that tune in for Sounds Baseball tonight on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds open up a 6-game road trip against the Gwinnett Stripers, the AAA affiliate of the Braves. Pre-game with Jeff Him starts at 5:50, and the first pitch is at 6:05. Sounds Baseball on ESPN 94.9, presented by 312 Pizza Company, Farm Bureau Health Plans, and Spirited Hive.
Join ESPN 102.5 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with the athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. The Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament. Sign up at theGameNashville.com/golf.
There's a revolutionary new way to stop mosquitoes in their tracks. Go to tiredofmosquitoes.com to see this amazing technology. There's never been anything like it before. Tiredofmosquitoes.com.
Hal Gill here for my good friends at Dunkin'. You know I love Dunkin', and I'm wicked happy that Dunks is all over Nashville. A newly remodeled next-gen Dunkin' location is at 1645 West Main Street in Lebanon. Of course, Dunks has the best coffee, but they have new spring items available as well. Try the salted caramel cream cold brew, shamrock macchiato made with Irish cream swirl, and the roasted tomato toast with hummus or avocado. They also have amazing chocolate croissants. So go treat yourself, go get your dunks.
Spring into savings at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Get huge savings in every department, like computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop locally owned and family operated at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Smokeville Smoke Shop has been serving Hendersonville and Metro Nashville since 2015 and is committed to providing high-quality, hands-on, and personable customer service. Stop into Smokeville Smoke Shops in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Hermitage, and Goodlettsville to try any of their wide selection of locally sourced products and selection of top nationwide brands, including vapes, hookah, hand-blown glass, detox systems, e-juices, kratom products, leaf wraps, and much more. Visit Smokeville Smoke Shops today.
Genesis Diamond's Spectacular Spring Extravaganza is coming April 22nd through 24th. 3 incredible days of store-wide savings. Up to 35% off engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, wedding bands, plus special financing. Even Genesis GIA certified diamonds are marked down. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new amazing designs. If you're popping the question soon or just looking for some new sparkle, you can't miss this annual event. Save up to $10,000 on some items. It's April 22nd through 24th and only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee ensures children and teens, especially those who need us most, are ready to read, ready for class, ready to graduate, ready for their career, and ready to serve the community. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, welcomes you with a special offer on the NHL, an official sports betting partner of BetMGM. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game, and if either team scores a goal, you're going to win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet. Plus, you'll earn BetMGM rewards points that can be redeemed for online bonuses or converted into comps for rooms, restaurants, and more at over 20 MGM resorts nationwide. Just download the app or go to BetMGM.com and use the bonus code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if a goal is scored in the game you wager on. Visit BetMGM.com for full list of terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Tennessee only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
Go up and get the receiver you need. Jamison Williams is the closest thing to Tyreek Hill in this draft. And with the speed, not only vertically, but also after the catch, he will give you that big play element that they're going to miss without Tyreek Hill. So it makes sense to me. And if you sit there at 29, all the other receivers, Jamison Williams will be off the board. Jahan Dotson from Penn State will be gone. You've got teams like Green Bay, Tennessee in front of you that need wide receivers. I think Christian Watson from North Dakota State would probably be the best case scenario if you sit at 29. Why not package those additional picks, go up and get a difference maker? Yeah, you may lose the first month of the season because he's coming off that ACL injury, but when he gets healthy and he gets right, come late in the season, playoff run, you're going to have a dynamic difference maker. And when he was healthy, he was the number 1 receiver in this class, and I had him as the number 6 overall prospect.
That was Todd McShay, ESPN, in his latest mock draft that came out last week. He has Kansas City moving up to 17 to draft Jamison Williams to be basically the replacement to Tyreek Hill. And as I said in the last segment, the thing that worries me if you're the Titans and you want this guy, because everything that he just said at the end of that clip, I had him as my 6th rated player in this class. He was the best receiver. And yeah, you got to wait, but he's going to be good. He's the closest thing to Tyreek Hill. Everything he just said is everything I can see the Titans convincing themselves into. That is, they're sitting there with the pick, and it's like, we like the offensive guard out of Boston College, But we loved Jamison Williams before he tore his knee up, and we've got Robert Woods and A.J. Brown and Nick Westbrook-Akina, so we can get through until Jamison's ready, so it'll be okay. And, again, John Robinson's been here for 6 years. He has invested heavily into injured players. Corey Davis was injured. He took him with the 5th overall pick. Harold Landry was coming off of an ankle injury. He took him in the 2nd round and used a 3rd-round pick in order to get him as well. Jeffrey Simmons off of an ACL. He was a 1st-round pick. Caleb Farley off of a back injury. He was a 1st-round pick. Bud Dupree, $80 million. They paid him coming off of an ACL. Julio Jones on a hamstring. They paid him, and they gave up a 2nd-round pick. Robert Woods, they brought him in to replace Julio, and we know that Robert Woods has an injury history too. The Titans do not care. As much as Floyd, always, he would have never picked Jamison Williams because of the injury, and he didn't run a 40. That would have excluded him from any chance of Floyd Reese picking him. John Robinson was the one in the room that told Bill Belichick, you got to take a chance on Rob Gronkowski. And Gronk was an injury question in and of himself. And it worked with Gronk, and we've seen what the Patriots were once they got Gronk in the fold, and I am convinced that Robinson has never forgotten that, and Jeffrey Simmons does not hurt that at all, and that if he thinks he can get a bargain, he will do it. So if Jamison Williams is there, then I think the Titans are very much a threat to take him. The teams, I don't worry about the Packers, who need a wide receiver that's in front of the Titans. I worry about Kansas City moving up. I worry about teams that already have wide receivers that look at the same bargain value that they could get ahead of time. Because I do believe that Treylon Burks, who was a really good player, who I saw one college coach compare him to AJ, and I would take another AJ, but he ran a 4.55. All the fast guys, Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, all the quote-unquote, top guy, they'll be well gone before he gets to picking for the Titans. Then come the next guys, like Jahan Dotson didn't run well at the Combine. That'll be an interesting thing to see if the Titans care about the speed. The other thing, and I'm not a big draft for needs guy, and I hate when John Robinson does it, but you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Robert Woods, you can go get a slot receiver, and you don't need to use a high draft pick on a slot receiver. I don't know how many teams use 1st-round picks on slot receivers. Julian Edelman might go to the Hall of Fame. He's not a 1st-round pick. But do you really need another receiver in the 1st round? I mean, everybody else is convinced of it, but I think everybody else, always thinks you need receivers. They don't ever want to talk about offensive line or defensive line or whatever. So do you need a receiver when you already got A.J. Brown and you're going to commit $80 million to him, and you've got Robert Woods that you just traded for? I mean, you essentially bought him with a 6th-round pick. Do you need that wide receiver? But again, I don't like when John Robinson takes for needs. Your thoughts on the Jamison Williams pick?
Well, yeah, I don't think you have to look at, okay, do the Titans need to go receiver there? Because I think it's more so what receiver is there. Because let's say the Titans need a receiver, they go into this draft saying we need a receiver in the 1st round, and they have guys that are graded as 2nd-round picks. Well, in all their 1st-round picks are gone.
Well, we know Jamison Williams is not graded as a 2nd-round pick.
No, but if he's taken, let's say the Chiefs do trade up to get Jamison Williams and he's gone. You cannot go into it like that.
But we're talking about the injury and the fact that Jamison Williams adds up to everything the Titans usually have shown us that they value.
Yes, and I think that a lot of Titans fans look at it like, okay, Julio Jones, Caleb Farley. Julio Jones absolutely did not work out. Caleb Farley was not able to contribute in the 1st year, and they look at no injured players. But you have to look at the injury. An ACL tear in football these days, it's like a slap on the wrist. It's like a boo-boo on your knee. You're going to be fine. You're going to recover, ideally, and especially with an ACL tear that late in the season in January. It does concern you, but the Titans don't need a wide receiver right now. They can patch up wide receivers here and there for whenever Jamison Williams, if that is who the Titans decide to choose,
do you think they'll do
is ready. I think that there's an interesting caveat here, and we talked about...
Do you have a problem if they do it?
No, not at all. Not at all. I said a while ago, if Jamison Williams is available at 26, you take him at 26. But I do think there's an interesting caveat, and we had a Desmond Ritter conversation, and you said, do you think that Vrabel and Robinson and Downing have talked to him like, hey, if you're there for us at 26, we're going to take you at 26. Well, what about Jameson Williams? What if Jameson Williams is available at 26? That's a value pick right there. If he really is the best wide receiver in this year's draft and he's available for you at 26, and Desmond Ritter is available for you at 26, but you said, hey, Desmond Ritter, if you're available at 26, we're taking you. Then what's your choice there? Why are you looking at me like that?
You think they care about that?
Well,
you think the Titans, if they've told Desmond Ritter, we're going to take you 26th, and let's say Evan Neal slips to 26.
And that's what I'm saying.
You think the Titans are going to sit there in the room and say,
No, I don't think they're
well,
going to do
we have
that.
Evan Neal ranked as the third best player in this year's draft, but we did promise Desmond Ritter that we would take him at 26. You think the Titans would say, well, we told Desmond we'd take him?
No, they shouldn't.
No way.
They shouldn't, but if they go into this year's draft saying Desmond Ritter, if he's there, we're taking him.
No, well, if they love him that much, they'll trade up to get him. Like, if there's a quarterback that you love that much, you trade up for him. Just like Buffalo did to make sure that they got Josh Allen. You know, and again, I don't know how many teams had Rosen rated ahead of Allen. But I think when they got there and Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were gone, I mean, think about this, right? And that, going back to that draft, the 2018 draft. Indianapolis moved from 3 to 6 because they had Andrew Luck and they didn't need a quarterback, and they knew the Jets did. So the Jets paid a humongous price in order to move up 3 slots and draft Sam Darnold. So they knew they couldn't get those guys. But I think they looked at it and said, if we can get to Indy at 6, we know Indy's not taking a quarterback. And I don't know who picked 4. I think Cleveland picked at 4, so they weren't going to take a quarterback because they just took Baker Mayfield with the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
So Cleveland's at 4, so they're not going to do that. I forget who was at 5, but they obviously didn't do that. I think they were like, if it gets past Indy at 6, and then we want our guy, we have to go up and get our guy. Do you know where they picked Josh Allen?
Where?
7. So they knew, like, okay, we're sitting at 12, but if it gets past Indy and Allen's our guy, you know, Indy's not going to take a quarterback. Cleveland's not going to take another quarterback. So we got to do that. So if the Titans love Desmond Ritter that much, that they would take, and again, McShay says that he has him as the 6th best prospect on the board.
Mm-hmm.
If he's, let's just say that that's the Titans board, which is probably not, but let's just say it is. If they have Jameson Williams with a torn ACL, or they've got Ritter, who they've got ranked at 31 or whatever, but they like and would be willing to take him with a 26th pick, like, they're going to take Williams because they value him more than they value Ritter.
Mm-hmm.
But if they love Ritter, they're moving up. If they love Malik Willis, they're moving up because that's quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't sit back at quarterback if you love somebody. And then sometimes, like, you know, people that unfortunately end up getting divorced, sometimes you love somebody and you end up making a very costly mistake. And, you know, a lot of teams around the league do that. The Titans have not shown us, you know, that they've ever done that. But again, I mean, we just talked about the Jets and everything they gave up to move up to take Sam Darnold and how'd that work out for them.
Right.
But it's if they love that guy. If they love Ritter and they've told him, hey, if you get to 26, we're going to take you. If they love him that much, not that they would tell him that, but if they love him, if they truly love him, they'll move up to get him. I don't know if they'll move up to get Jameson Williams. Just like in 2019, I think they loved Simmons, but they didn't move up. I think they loved A.J. Brown, but they didn't move up. And that's how I view the Williams thing, is if he's there at 26, they're not moving up to get him, even though I'm sure they probably love him. He played for Nick Saban. He's a wide receiver. He's fast, you know, all those things. They're not going to move up to get him. But if he's there, like, I think they love him. If they really love a quarterback, unless they're stupid, you move up. Because if you screw up quarterback, if they take, let's say that they just sit at 26 and say, all right, we're going to take any quarterback that's there.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up, what happened to the Chargers a couple years ago? The Chargers said, Miami's taking a quarterback at 5. Whoever they take, we'll take the other guy. So they would have had Tua. They ended up with Justin Herbert. Good luck
move
on their part. But had they, you know, if the Titans sit there and say, hey, we're going to take whoever's there, and then that guy fails, it's the same as if you traded next year's first, because you're not going to take a quarterback in next year's round. And, you know, basically you're screwing yourself if you love a guy and don't take him. 615-737-1025. Trevor Maddich, his thoughts on where the Titans sit, his thoughts on these quarterbacks. And again, at 26, do you love them? Do you not love them? What does he think the Titans think? And Trevor played offensive line. What about those offensive linemen? That's next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I absolutely love my friends at Hiller. They're giving away free vacations for you and your family this month. With every purchase of a new whole home generator or select new HVAC systems, Hiller is giving you a free week-long vacation. With every purchase of a new tankless water heater, Hiller is giving you a free weekend vacation, and they're giving you a Visa Rewards card to help pay for your gas to get you there. Choose from over 400 Marriott, Wyndham, Hilton, or Hyatt hotel properties and take advantage of this unbelievable deal while you can, because these deals are only available for a limited time, so make sure you schedule today. Visit happyhiller.com for all the details. As always, happy you'll be here. The service is free. And again, I have used Hiller at my home for years, and they have done a fantastic job. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is Mikhail Kralund, and this is Smashville.
And the rebound shoveled in by Mikhail Gronlund, and the Predators have tied it up on the power play.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, their game.
Hey guys, it's the new year. Are you still struggling with erectile dysfunction? I've yet to meet anyone that enjoys timing those intimate moments around a pill. Well, now you don't have to. The advanced wave technology at Hillside Medical has been shown by Cambridge University and the Cleveland Clinic to restore and even regrow blood vessels. It can improve circulation and eliminate erectile dysfunction. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED, call us in the next 2 minutes and you'll receive a consultation, assessment, and blood flow ultrasound free. Plus, a special gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. Trust me. This is a $600 value, free to callers now. 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, get rid of your ED and get that spark back. Call Hillside Medical now to qualify. 615-576-5000.
Realizing Geico's great service and licensed agents are available at your fingertips is like realizing the plastic piece that comes with your pizza isn't a tiny doll table. It's to keep the box from touching the pizza.
Hey, the pizza's stuck to the box. Where's that little plastic thing?
Dolly needed it for her tea party.
It's something that's been right there in front of you all along, like the dedicated Geico claims team available to you in the event of an accident to get you back on the road quickly, or how your smartphone charges faster when you put it on airplane mode.
Wow, what if I put it on rocket mode?
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico's industry-leading app lets you pay your bill, file a claim, manage your policy, or summon help when you need it. Or how those holes in your shower caddy are there so you can store your shampoo bottles upside down.
Showers happen fast when you're not waiting on shampoo.
Great service. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Now through April 14th, join a clean and spacious Planet Fitness for $1 down and only $10 a month. With tons of equipment and free fitness training, it's the perfect place for everybody to work out.
Even me, Mr. I can't sleep at night, so I keep dozing off during the day.
Especially you, Snoozy. You'll rest easier and feel fit-tacular.
Wait, how did you get in here?
Join in club or at planetfitness.com. $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Hurry, deal ends April 14th. See club for details.
Mrs. Fogelman, ready to hustle for that muscle.
Membership numbers at Sly's Gym have been racking up.
22 people have signed up for 6 a.m. buns of steel.
Now he needs more certified trainers to do all the heavy lifting.
I'm gonna have to bulk up my staff.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Play ball! Mr. White hit high in the air. Deep left field on the track at the wall. It's gone!
The Nashville Sounds are on the road as they take on the Gwinnett Stripers.
Swing and a strike three, and the Sounds win.
Coverage begins at 5:50 on your home for the Sounds.
ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena, 2 weeks and 2 days until the NFL draft. And right now, every draft analyst is getting their mock drafts out, and they're trying to talk across the league, and teams are dotting their I's and crossing their T's. I heard something pretty funny today, which was Bill Polian said that 40% of all of this Nobody knows. He said that literally everybody who talks about this stuff on TV does not know one of the most important elements to this, which is what do the teams think about these players from a mental perspective? You know, do they think they can handle pressure? Do they think they can recall information? Do they think that they'll make the right decisions off the field? Bill Belichick, something I read that I found pretty interesting, is Bill Belichick, when they would have prospects in New England, the way that he would approach these prospects is they would have somebody come into the building and they would, go through everything. Put them through all the mental tests inside the building. And they would inundate the prospect with football information from terminology to play design. And then they'd send the quarterback or the player home. And then they'd pick up the phone and they'd call the player. And they'd say, so do you remember what we talked about? Can you recall it to me? Like hours ahead of time. And they literally will never tell anybody what they think. That's why you never know what they think about attitudes and things like that. And that's what's going to throw this whole draft board one way or another. And sometimes these players can knock these guys off these players can knock, people's socks off with the way they talk about them. Trevor Maddich joins us now, ESPN college football analyst. So, Trevor, I know you see the mock drafts. You see all the talk as far as this draft is concerned. The Titans have a lot of different routes they can go. We were discussing Jamison Williams at Alabama coming off of the torn ACL. If he's there at 26, it seems like a Titans pick, and yet it just feels like somebody else is going to jump him or want to take him, but there's a lot of guys out there. What do you think of that kind of current speculation?
Well, I think that if Jamison Williams is available, they should jump on it because he's a top 10 guy when he's healthy, right? And the only thing that would drop him down is his ACL tear. And it will drop him down, but I don't think it'll drop him all the way to 26. One thing that would possibly make that happen is so many other guys perform so well at the Senior Bowl and especially at the Combine with, so many receivers running in the 4.3s. I mean, fast guys that there might be some people that would rather take a guy that they don't have to worry about whether or not that ACL will heal to 100% because speed is Jamison Williams' game. I mean, he was a deep threat, but when you watch tape on him, it's the nuance of how he gets deep that's really impressive. I mean, he's got great explosiveness off the ball. Then he kicks into a high gear that makes the corner turn and run with him. But then he's got another gear when that ball's coming down that he could just accelerate. And you think he's already running fast. You think he's already outrunning the corner. But now he hits another gear to separate even further, right? And that extra gear that he's got is unmatched in college football. There are some guys that are close. But the ability to vary his speed like he does is how he gets deep. Also, one of the great things about Jamison Williams, he's the Alabama wide receiver, is that he is phenomenal after the catch. That acceleration allows him to catch the ball and then outrun tackling angles, safeties coming up, zone corners coming up to tackle him, and he hits that extra gear and they end up behind him, right? When you have a speed game like that, there's always the risk that a knee injury would diminish that speed just a little bit, and that's why he might drop. But if he drops all the way to 26 and I'm Tennessee, I am all over that regardless of needs at offensive line.
Desmond Ritter said something interesting yesterday, which was he was asked what quarterbacks he would compare himself to. He said immediately Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, and Deshaun Watson. And most people don't compare themselves to backup quarterbacks, and that is essentially what Mariota is. At the Senior Bowl, he compared himself to Tannehill and Watson. Now he's throwing Mariota into the mix. One, what do you make of the comparison Desmond Ritter to Mariota? And two, what do you think of Ritter comparing himself to Mariota and Tannehill?
I don't think he's anywhere near either one of those guys. I mean, Ritter, I like him. I like his game. But there are a lot of questions in really key areas about quarterbacking. To be a quarterback, the first thing you need to be is accurate. If you're not accurate, you don't have the price of admission. You just can't play. And he improved his accuracy last year over previous years. He went out and worked with a quarterback guru in the offseason, heading into the 2021 season, improved his footwork, and you could tell that he got better. but there were games when he regressed, games against teams that were really poor defenses like Navy and East Carolina and others, where his accuracy was either in the high 50s or it was like 60%. I mean, he should have tore those teams up. And those were games that Cincinnati didn't pull away on the scoreboard until late. And it was largely because of the offense and largely because of the quarterback position just kind of disappeared. And that's against relatively poor college offenses. And so that's the big rap on him is, can he be as accurate as consistently as necessary? And you compare that then to Mariota. As a college quarterback, Mariota was a Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he was the most outstanding player in college football. He was absolutely fantastic. Now, in the NFL, there's been some weaknesses that have, shown up, and we'll see if he's got those resolved now when he's in Atlanta. But I don't think that you could call Ritter a version of Mariota unless you say he's a very risky version and weaker version of Mariota right now. Again, I like him, but you're comparing him to these guys. Tannehill, I wouldn't even put him in the same planet. Tannehill is an AFC championship caliber quarterback. You can debate whether or not he's anything above that, but he is AFC championship game, let's put it that way, because he's proven he can get his team to the AFC championship game. And Ritter right now hasn't proven that he can dominate Navy. So, these are some things that I worry about, and it's one of the reasons why I think if a team takes him in the first round, it would be a real stretch. Second round, I think his innate skills would make him a good risk, but first round, I just wouldn't reach for him there. I'd get a position player that I'm more confident in that could play right now, help you more, less likely to be a bust, and then go for a quarterback next year.
Trevor, what do you make of Matt Corral? I heard Bill Polian today say that he has the it factor, but that he is concerned about transitioning from Lane Kiffin's offense to the NFL, and he's also concerned about Corral's size and injury.
Yeah, I get the questions about his transferring to the NFL. There's two, basically. One is that it's very much a one-read college offense that he was in. You're basically RPO. And if you say you look at the safety, if he goes left, you go right. If he goes right, you go left. It's just as simple as that. And the NFL has a lot of that now, which makes quarterbacks coming from systems like that able to contribute more earlier. But there wasn't really a whole lot more than that from a mental standpoint. And so how he performed on the whiteboard in meetings with coaches, his knowledge of defenses, his knowledge of concepts beyond RPO would be important for teams trying to evaluate how quickly he might be able to contribute. The other thing is that, he is not the biggest guy. He's like 6'2", about 210, but he's not built solidly. He's kind of long and lanky, and he's got a very reckless scrambling style and running style. I mean, he will throw his body around and get himself hurt. And in the SEC, he got hurt some. Rest out from between their teeth with whatever bones are remaining. So he's got to learn not to do that in the league. But I would rather teach a quarterback to not scramble as much than I would to teach a quarterback to be more aggressive and be more assertive. So again, I'm not sure that's a big deal. I think that the upside of Matt Corral is really intriguing, and I think it should be enough for teams to be willing to take him in the late first or somewhere in the second round. Because the upside is when he did let that ball go, it was with a quick release. He has tremendous deep accuracy. Sure, there were easy reads, but now the ball's got to get there. And that was a beautiful ball that he would throw. And so Corral is another quarterback in this draft that's typical of all the quarterbacks in this draft that, has potential upside, intriguing skills, but also weaknesses, or at least perceived weaknesses, that will really make you pause before you actually, send in his name to Roger Goodell to be drafted. So I like him, but he's got to be there, and you've got to be convinced that he can learn NFL schemes.
Trevor Maddich is with us, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters, we have seen a lot of different names on the offensive line. The Titans have a need at left guard. They have a need at right tackle. Mock to the Titans. What does Trevor think of those. We'll get to that next with Trev. Meanwhile, Caroline wants to tell you about the Caesar Sportsbook app.
Yes, I do. It is time for the Caesar Sportsbook Report, as we do every day. So Caesar Sportsbook is giving a feast to all of its new users, and that could be you. By feast, I mean a $250 Uber Eats gift card, and here is how it works. Just bet $50 for your first bet, and win or lose, you'll get a $250 digital gift card for Uber Eats. Just make sure you use the promo code RADIOEAT. That is one word, RADIOEAT, one word. Now, if you need something to put that first $50 on to qualify for your $250 Uber Eats gift card, put it on the Predators game tonight, because as Jared said earlier in the show, as I'm going to tell you now, the Predators are going to win tonight. Now, I recommend that you put the best value is if you put some money on the Predators -1.5 plus 125. The San Jose Sharks are not playing for anything. The Predators are playing for a little bit more of comfort in their division standings. They are 1 point ahead of the Dallas Stars, and I know they'll appreciate those 2 points tonight against the San Jose Sharks. So put some money on the Nashville Predators -1.5 tonight. Must be 21 and physically present in Tennessee. New customers with the eligible promo code only. Real money wagers only that have minimum odds of -200. $250 gift card redemption code and steps to redeem gift card will be sent via email within 72 hours. Uber gift card terms and conditions apply. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesar Sportsbook. Download it, people.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
Pockets of heavy rain will move in overnight tonight. We look for a threat of strong to severe storms Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Damaging wind and a few tornadoes possible. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face truck today.
Free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
What if you could be debt-free in 3 weeks? Hey, Willie Donick here. My friends at Loan Pronto are helping people do it every day. It's Loan Pronto's debt consolidation home refi, wiping out tens of thousands in credit card debt. Listen, your home's value is way up. You can refinance now, take money out to pay off all your credit cards, eliminate PMI charges, pay off personal loans, or other high-interest debt. One local couple had over $50,000 in credit card debt. Loan Pronto did a debt consolidation refi, and even though their mortgage rate went up a tad, they cut their monthly payments by $900. Why pay 20% interest when you can consolidate it to one low payment with a mortgage APR in the threes? Homeowners who do it save an average of $800 a month. Do it now and even skip your next house payment altogether. That's what I call financial freedom. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Sometimes their glass is half full.
That was unbelievable. It was the best NFL draft they've ever had.
Sometimes glass half empty.
What are we getting ourselves into here? Tough game.
And sometimes it's all about the numbers.
One win, and they've gone on this streak, and now they're at 500.
Hang out with Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2 during your workday. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Trevor Maddich is with us. Trevor is presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters, I don't know if this is a smoke signal or not, because John Robinson has not been at these college quarterback pro days. Now, Malik Willis reportedly visited the Titans. I'm not sure the Titans are going to draft Malik Willis. I'm not sure they're going to be able to draft Malik Willis. But, you know, Desmond Ritter's pro day, Mike Vrabel was there, and Todd Downing was there, and Pat O'Hara was there, the quarterback's coach. And yet I kept thinking in my head, if John Robinson is not there, then is he really going to draft that guy to be his franchise quarterback? Meanwhile, he was at the pro days for the offensive guard Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. He was at Trevor Penning, the tackle out of Northern Iowa's pro days. We see a lot of different offensive linemen mocked to the Titans at 26. Zion Johnson at Boston College. Vrabel was there. Robinson was there. And I don't know if he was at Iowa for Tyler Lindenbaum, but those are a lot of names we've seen that have been drafted, to the Titans in these mock drafts. Trevor Maddich is with us. You know the offensive line as well as anybody. You know the Titans have holes on the offensive line. John Robinson has been at the pro days. Trevor, how do you feel about that kind of second tier of offensive linemen that won't go in the top 10, that may fall to the Titans at 26, and how they would fit compared to all the other names we've been talking about?
Yeah, I think from a need standpoint, offensive line is what makes the most sense there, unless somebody just falls and has a much higher grade than the offensive lineman who's available, which a Jamison Williams wide receiver out of Bama would be if he falls. But I like some of these guys that you're talking about. You're referring to them as kind of second-tier guys. Some of them would be ideal for Tennessee. I mean, you mentioned Kenyon Green out of Texas A&M. I imagine he'll go before the Titans will pick at 26. But at the same time, again, some of those 4-3 wide receivers might start to run on wide receivers, and some teams just might start to reach for them and allow guys like Green to fall. The thing about Green is there's two things. One is that he's extremely versatile. I mean, he started at both guards and both tackles at times last year for Texas A&M, and he can play center. He's ideally a guard, but he can also play right tackle. He's about 6'4", about 325 pounds. And the thing that stands out about him is nastiness and heaviness. Now, I don't mean heavy feet. He can move his feet pretty well, although occasionally he'll lunge and end up on the ground. But he can move his feet well enough to pass protect it from the right tackle position, I think, in the NFL. I'd give him a chance at that. But he's got heavy hands. When he strikes you, you see the defensive lineman just get shocked. That heavy hands is a big deal in the NFL. He also is a very powerful run blocker, and that's the first thing you need to be in order to fit into this Titans offense. So he's got the nastiness. He is a road grader on the offensive line from a run blocking standpoint. He's got position versatility, which they need, and he might be able to play right tackle because he is a guy that right now the Tennessee doesn't have a right tackle. There doesn't exist on the roster. Mm-hmm. They're listing Dylan Radunz in their depth chart as their starting right tackle, and I really hope that he really steps up in year two. But I wouldn't count on it until I see it. And Green is a guy that could fill in at guard and start at guard if Radunz can play right tackle. And if not, you can move him out there and put him at right tackle. But there's an intriguing guy that might be a reach at tackle for the Titans at 26. But I think he'd be an excellent fit, and that's Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. He's another guy that's thick, he's explosive, he's got quick feet, he's got those heavy hands of Kenyon Green. When he strikes you, the play's over. I mean, he's outstanding. Dominant run blocker. He needs a bit of work on his pass blocking technique, but he's really more of a second rounder than he is a high second rounder than he is a late first rounder. But if Tennessee has a grade on him that's worthy of the 26th pick, he is a more natural fit to fill that right tackle position. Because right now, no disrespect to Dylan Radunz, but until I see him actually do it, there is a gaping hole. It's not a weak spot. It just doesn't exist. Right now, consider yourself with 4 starting offensive linemen.
Trevor, along those lines of Radunz, he did not play much last year, and Caleb Farley was injured last year and didn't play much. How much can the Titans realistically expect to get out of those guys as compared to the just pure optimism of, well, maybe a year in the league, they'll be better?
Yeah, Jared, you bring up a great point because it is critical to the Titans' run this year that both of those guys be able to play. And with Radunz, whether it's a starter or as a quality backup, they're going to need that guy. And Caleb Farley, I mean, he was hurt coming in, then he got hurt again, different injury last year. They need him to play like a first-round defensive back, like a first-round shut-down cover corner. And if he does that, then the defense will take a leap forward. If Radunz does that, the offensive line will take a leap forward. How much can you count on them? Until you see it, you just can't do it. But what we don't have the luxury of is to see how those guys are performing in the weight room and in drills. Because, it's not just the OTAs where guys are evaluated. You know, can you do squats? Can you do the power cleans? You know, the grass drills you're doing outside, the agility drills that you go through. And if coaches are out there, whether they're out there or not, they're looking at you out the window and they're watching. And we don't see how those guys are performing right now. And so all I know is that they really need both of those guys to step up. Radon's, part of the problem with him is that, you know, they liked him in the second round last year in part because of position versatility. They figured he could play a lot of different positions, so they move him in, they move him around. They thought that would help him. The truth of it is you got to put a guy like that in one spot and let him develop. I mean, I was a guy that my rookie year I got hurt. My second year everybody else got hurt, and I had to move around to different spots. My third year I got hurt. My fourth year everybody else got hurt, and I had to move around to different spots. I ended up playing 12 years in the league in part because I was considered one of the best in the league at being able to go in at any of the 5 offensive line positions. And I played tight end too. That was weird. And get them out of a game or 2 or 3 with consistent play, and the thing wouldn't break down. I wouldn't dominate in any one position, but I could play all of the positions pretty well. Well, what they need for Radunts is to focus on one position and get really good at it. And right now that position is right tackle. So I'm guessing, but let me put it this way. I'd be really stunned if training camp opens and Radunts isn't firmly ensconced in practice as a right tackle and a right tackle only to see if he can actually play that position.
Mm-hmm. Trevor Matich is our guest here on the program. Bill Belichick values at the quarterback position, I read in the Seth Wickersham book, decision-making and accuracy. We know John Robinson, the Titans general manager, comes from the Belichick tree. What quarterback in this year's class do you think has the best combination of decision-making and accuracy as far as their potential is concerned in this draft?
Yeah, I think the only guy that really you could even say could be up there, well, I'd say 2. I'd say Kenny Pickett of Pitt. His decision-making and accuracy were both very good. He doesn't have that strong of an arm, but he makes up for it with anticipation. So as long as the ball gets there on time, then he throws it a bit earlier because he anticipates the ball takes a little longer to get there, but it gets there on time. And the reason that's important is that in college, guys are open. In the NFL, a route looks like this. You're covered, you're open, you're covered. And that open is just made by a foot or 2. And so you don't throw the ball in the NFL when the guy's open. You have to throw it before he's open, anticipating the point in the route based on that coverage when he'll be open, so the ball arrives there. And I think Pickett can do that based on his anticipation. You know, the other side of that is you get a guy that has just a super strong arm, and they see the guy get open, they throw it so fast it gets there on time anyway. That's not ideal, but hey. So but I don't think Pickett will be available. The other one that we've talked about really is Sam Howell out of North Carolina. You know, he's got some things that he's got to work on, throwing on the move, things like that. But from the pocket, he's got the prettiest deep ball of any quarterback in this draft. And I think his decision-making, he's played a lot of football. I talked to Mac Brown and other people, Mac Brown, the head coach at North Carolina, and other people at North Carolina about him. I got to meet him, look him in the eye, and talk to him for a few minutes on one of my tours out there. And I really think that Sam Howell has a chance to be, you know, a potential Russell Wilson. Now, that kind of a style of quarterback. Now, will he get there? I'm not saying he's Russell Wilson now, but nobody thought Russell Wilson was Russell Wilson when he came into the league either. Mm-hmm. And so I think Sam Howell would be the guy I'm taking a risk on if I'm picking a quarterback at 26 if Pickett doesn't fall. Everybody else has too many problems that could make them a bust. And I don't want to take a quarterback in the first round and have him be more likely to be a bust. And this is just not that group of quarterbacks to risk on.
Trevor Matich, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters. Great stuff, Trev. Really appreciate it. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Matich joining us on the program. Whoa, do I feel overloaded about these quarterbacks now. I mean, I got to go back and listen to it and decipher what he said, and there's a lot there. So we'll get our thoughts in on that. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Meanwhile, the Predators have a big one tonight. A big one that I feel so confident that I'm putting money where my mouth is in this game. We'll get to that coming up next. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. Go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. All customers this season will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on a Tuesday MLB game. And the best part about Dinger Tuesdays is that even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run. I'm going to go with Nelson Cruz tonight. I think Nelson Cruz is going to hit some home runs. He's been doing it for what feels like 40 years. In fact, I remember back when he was on the Sounds. That's how old I am. But Nelson Cruz tonight, I think he'll get a home run. Just throwing that one out there. So what are you waiting for? Pick your home run hitter and turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet on America's pastime than America's #1 sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Head over to your FanDuel account, download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, and sign up with the promo code JGM. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25 and restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The racing, the big one, the camping. It's all just bigger at Talladega. And with a doubleheader on Saturday and the premiere of the next-gen cars on Sunday, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. NASCAR's biggest and baddest track is back. The Talladega NASCAR Weekend, April 23rd through the 24th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Genesis Diamond's spectacular spring extravaganza is coming April 22nd through 24th. 3 incredible days of store-wide savings. Up to 35% off engagement rings, earrings, bracelets, wedding bands, plus special financing. Even Genesis GIA certified diamonds are marked down. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new amazing designs. If you're popping the question soon or just looking for some new sparkle, you can't miss this annual event. Save up to $10,000 on some items. It's April 22nd through 24th and only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting 97.5 Murfreesboro, 106.3 Williamson County,
ESPN
102.5 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios here at Bridgestone Arena. Pregame in 1 hour. Preds and San Jose Sharks. I believe tonight is Hockey is for Everybody night.
It is.
So they are honoring everybody tonight. It is a very inclusive game. They are bringing everybody out. And so I want everybody from every community to hear what I'm about to say, which is that the Nashville Predators, I have guaranteed that the Nashville Predators will beat the San Jose Sharks tonight. For the record, this is my first guarantee, Ian, since February of 2019. Do we have the exact date on that when I last guaranteed a Predators victory?
Let's see. We do. 1 second, please.
Now, I did this in February of 2018. They lost to Calgary, and everybody got on my freaking, it was all my fault. Everybody was blaming me. And then apparently, and I totally forgot about this. I remember the Calgary one because I remember how mad people were.
Says Jared guarantees Preds will beat LA tonight, Thursday, 2/21/19. Correct.
2/21/19. You know what I actually think that was? I think that was the back end of a 2-game stretch where they started in Anaheim, and Anaheim was horrible, and they got smoked by the Ducks, and everybody was like, I remember like somebody like texted me, Ian, and was like, don't be too hard on Laviolette today. Do you remember that, Ian?
I texted you that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I remember. Why would I say that?
See, so my gut is that Ryan had told me not to be too hard on Laviolette already, but I can't remember if that was the case, and that he had relayed the message to you to relay to me as like a, hey, let's attack this from all angles.
Interesting.
That sounds right.
The guarantee before this was Cody McLeod gets into a fight in his first game back versus Dallas. Pretty funny.
He did not.
That was
he
wrong.
Got in his second game. But I do remember like posting a picture on Twitter of me because I said like if they lost to Anaheim, I'd be so mad that I'd throw a chair. And so I gently turned over a chair in my living room. And I put it down and then took a picture when they were getting their asses kicked by that terrible Anaheim team. And like Robby Stanley said that he almost fell out laughing so hard when he saw that. But I mean, that was a bad one. That was on the broadcast. Oh my God. I'll never forget this. They said on the broadcast, they were like, in all fairness, it took longer to get here to Anaheim than we thought it was going to take because the headwinds were so strong.
Excuses.
So they got embarrassed. They got embarrassed against Anaheim, and I guaranteed that they would win the game against LA, and they did. And I am basing my guarantee off of this. The Predators have lost their last 2 games, although they did get a point against Pittsburgh, and they did pat themselves on the back, albeit a little too much for my liking after the game on Sunday. But they got beat on Saturday. They know they've got a murderer's row of teams that are coming up ahead of them. They know that they've got a good shot at the playoffs, but they can't lose this game. Like, they know they're going to beat some good teams. They know they're going to lose to some good teams down the stretch. But they know they got they've got 2 with Calgary. They've got St. Louis. They've got all these good teams coming up. They know they've got to beat Seattle. They know they've got to beat Chicago. They know they've got to beat Arizona at the end of the year. David Boyle said it today. I think if they win 5 of their last 10 games, he thinks they're going to make the playoffs. Well, that's 3 right there. And they know it. They know it. UC Soros did not travel to Pittsburgh with a non-COVID illness, which makes me think it was a can't go because they knew David Riddick was going to start. And so they wanted to give him the rest of not only not going, but the rest of sleep in your bed, stay in late, watch the game on TV, don't fly back, order Uber Eats or DoorDash, just do your thing. And that's what he did. And so he's going to play tonight. The San Jose Sharks have lost 6 games in a row. Their general manager resigned. They're leading a search for a new one, but the interim general manager is not going to get the job because he's part of the committee to find the next one. Again, they are in the midst of their season finale road trip where they are in game 2 of a 5-game swing. Guess what those guys are probably doing last night at San Jose? They've been eliminated from the playoffs. They're terrible. They have been terrible for years. The general manager has left. The coach, Bob Bugner, good guy, but he might get fired. What do you think the San Jose Sharks did last night? You think they went to bed at 9 o'clock at their nice hotel on downtown Broadway to get prepared for this big, meaningful matchup against the Predators? Or do you think on their last meaningful road trip of the year as a group, that they hit Broadway.
They were at Tootsie's last night.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. These people circle Nashville just like the fans who go there do it. So again,
they're looking forward to their Cabo trips in a few weeks.
They went from Vancouver, which by the way is a great freaking city. They went from Vancouver, where they lost 4-2. They come here. They might be spending the night tonight because they play at Chicago on Thursday. And if I played on the Sharks, I'd be begging them, hey, it's April, 70 degrees in Nashville. Can we spend the night in Nashville and then tomorrow fly to Chicago before we play? Then they play at Chicago, not a bad city to go out in.
Mm-hmm.
Then they play at Dallas, not a bad city to go out in. Then they play at Minnesota, terrible city. So, I mean, in all seriousness, like, how focused can the Sharks be? This game means nothing to them. It means everything to the Predators. Their season is over. The Predators are trying to cement their spot in the playoffs. They're playing at home at Bridgestone Arena. They know they've lost 2 in a row. And on top of it, last month, the Predators lost a game they knew they shouldn't have to Seattle, and they turned around and beat the Sharks 8-0. So I'm putting $500 on the game, I've already said, but this is more than $500 to me. I already spent a bunch of money this morning replacing my front 2 tires. So the
You'll
money
win it back tonight.
Does not matter to me. What matters to me is that I don't do this very often. I do not guarantee games very often. And I am in my lifetime on this radio station, I am 2-1 in guarantees. I guaranteed the Titans would beat the Jaguars at the end of the 2017 season to get in the playoffs. They did. I guaranteed the Preds would win in 2018 against Calgary. They lost. And I am guaranteeing that the Predator, and I've guaranteed the LA game, and I am guaranteeing tonight that the Predators are going to beat the San Jose Sharks. No questions, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I will take the blame if they do not win today. But I do have one question. Without breaking the rule of nobody gets in trouble without having done something wrong, how big of a loss would it be if they lose tonight? And how many questions would be asked tomorrow if they can't win tonight, given everything that is the pile of crap right now that is San Jose?
Well, it's a massive loss, not just for the reason that this is a San Jose team that has nothing to play for, and this is a San Jose team that has looked pretty atrocious as of late.
6 games in a row?
6 games in a row.
8-0 a month ago.
5 of them in regulation. 8-0. What was that? I don't know what it was. But my point being, it's not only a big loss because the San Jose team is less than thrilling. It's a big loss because you are 1 point ahead of Dallas in the playoff race. And every single point is so incredibly important, especially when you have
What part of the race is important to us?
I don't know.
Ian, what part of the race is important to us?
4th place.
The race for fourth place.
4th place.
4th place. You know, you want Calgary. You don't want Colorado.
And the Predators are not sitting pretty in 4th place.
No.
Every point matters, and you have to get them against the crap teams, especially at home. They're on a 5-game homestand. I mean, the Predators have to win tonight. It makes their job so much easier coming down the stretch. You win tonight, you give yourself at least a little bit more cushion ahead of Dallas, albeit not much. You take every single point at this point.
I mean, this one, like, I got to be honest with you. If they lose tonight, I mean, I got to be staring at Hines pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm calling for him to lose his job if they lose tonight. Absolutely not saying that. And I don't think that they'll fire him even if they don't make the playoffs. But, like, you're the coach. And so if you can't get them up tonight to play the San Jose Sharks after you've lost 2 in a row, you can't get them up tonight to play, then I really got to look at you and think, can you do this? Like, can you really do this? I mean, I don't know if you caught any of this, the TNT game that was on before the Predators the other night. Laviolette at Boston. I mean, and it was a big game because all those Eastern versus Eastern games are now for, like, who's going to be the wild card, who's going to win the division, who's going to have home ice. And on top of it, I think there's also a little bit of like, hey, let's prove to ourselves. And Washington looked great, you know, and they played a great game against Tampa Bay last week. I mean, like, again, like, the thing about Laviolette was this time of the year, like, you knew Laviolette would have this. Even the year that they disappointed in the playoffs in 2019, I believe they won 8 of their last 10 down the stretch. I mean, this is a big one for Hines. To me, this is a big one for Hines. And I am guaranteeing a victory on his behalf. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get your reaction to that. What David Poyle had to say about the playoff chase, 615-737-1025. Plus, what the odds are saying about how important this game in and of itself is for the Predators. We'll get to that next. Hey, tickets for the Music City Grand Prix August 5th through the 7th are on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. 1025 The Game has your chance to win 3-day passes to the Music City Grand Prix just now. Text the word RACE, R-A-C-E, to the game text line at 615-737-1025 to get qualified to win. More details on the Music City Grand Prix can be found at musiccitygp.com.
Do you have that one person or thing that just makes you mad? Join us every Friday at noon on the DDC for You Just Made the List. Fueled by Harman Energy. Visit HarmanEnergy.com. Your one-stop petroleum solution, and TriStar Movie on the DDC on ESPN 1025 The Game.
You just made the list.
Race fans, it's time to fire up the engines at everyone's favorite local track, the Fairgrounds Speedway. Make your plans for the U.S. Legends Spring Nationals, April 16th. Great family entertainment at the fairgrounds with the pro late model racing, super trucks, legends, and bandoleros. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience local racing's best at Nashville's legendary track. It's the U.S. Legends Spring Nationals at the Fairgrounds Speedway coming up this Saturday. Get your tickets today.
Realizing Geico is your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs is like realizing you can just toss the whole measuring cup into the washer so it won't get gunked up with laundry detergent.
I guess it doesn't work for coffee mugs, huh?
It's something that's been right in front of you this whole time, like how Geico offers 24/7 emergency roadside service to help you when you need it most. Or how athletic wristbands aren't for your wrists, they're for wiping sweat off your forehead.
Great. So, what are headbands for?
80s night at the dance club. Woo!
It's something you can't believe you never realized before, like how Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance, with even more ways to save when you add boat, motorcycle, and RV insurance. Or how a pony is its own animal and not just a baby horse.
So, what's a baby pony called?
Getting more ways to save. It's just one of the many reasons to switch to Geico. They're all right there in front of you.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Willie Donick here. If you need cash for that home improvement or want to finally be credit card debt-free, how does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. Use that money to pay off all your high-interest debt or remodel your kitchen, or both. Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. In fact, Loan Pronto does zero down purchases for veterans buying a new home. Call now to see what your options are. Call Loan Pronto at 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs
and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Spring has sprung, which means it's time to renew your home with Social Furniture. It's their Spring Fling sale, where all furniture is up to 50% off. That's right, up to 50% off on top name brands such as Serta, Sealy, Simmons, Caracol, Bernhardt, and Woodhouse. At Social Furniture, you'll find new bedroom furniture, mattresses, and sofas, all up to 50% off. Spring into Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture is a proud supporter of your Nashville Predators.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I thought in Pittsburgh we were the better team. I really liked our effort. 4 games in 6 nights. Possibly a little bit tired, but I really thought we played well and again just almost got the job done, but not quite. So that brings us to the tonight into this homestand with the 5 consecutive games. And, this is where we have to get it done. It appears, point-wise, 96 points is where it's going to take. 97 points. We're at 87. So, 10 games left. To me, we got to win at least 5 games. We have 7 home games out of our last 10. So, starts tonight. So, I think we're in good shape. But games are all hard. Every game is hard. We found that out. Playing Ottawa and the Buffaloes, teams that aren't in the playoffs this year, and here we have another team tonight in San Jose. But like the players know, we just can't take anything for granted right now.
There you go. That sounds like David Poyle today on the Midday Show where he goes on weekly. That sounds like David was kind of like, yeah, we know we can't lose this one. That was the vibe I got right there, which was, hey, and every coach does this where they compliment teams who suck, and the Sharks suck, but there's this sense of, hey, look, we saw with the Ottawas and the Buffaloes that, we gotta show up tonight. I mean, we can't just roll the sticks out, put the puck on the ice, and let's go. I mean, we can't do that. We got to show up. And I think David knows what's at stake if they lose tonight, which is the whole crux of why I'm guaranteeing a victory, is because the Predators know how devastating a loss would be, and they're not willing to accept it.
But that's what's so frustrating is, as of late, the Predators just don't seem to show up against bad teams. And they play up to really difficult opponents.
It is very Mike Vrabel of them, but I don't think that they're as Mike Vrabel as you and we think. And I go back, I think that's just hockey. I think it's like
Maybe
baseball.
There's so many games that
baseball in a 3-game series, a really good team is going to beat a bad team 2 out of 3.
Probably so.
And sometimes it's going to be sweeps and things like that, and some teams are just freaking awful. But for the most part, you get a good start, guys get a couple of hits, baseball's hard to bet. Hockey, I think, is somewhat similar, but I think now that you know what's at stake for you, it's different. And let's not kid ourselves. The Sharks did not sleep in last night. They did not. The Sharks are not worried about this game.
No.
The Predators are worried about this game. The Sharks were on Broadway last night. And I'm making an assumption. I didn't see them on Broadway because I don't really go out on Broadway much, but I'm definitely not going out on Broadway on a Monday night. But I know people do, and I'm pretty sure that they probably did. Now, here's what's crazy about Money Puck has the odds for tonight's game. If the Predators win, the chance that they make the playoffs is 94.8%. So 95% that they will make the playoffs if they win. If they lose, 84.3. So you're looking at an 11-point swing in percentages if the Predators don't win this game. Now, I'm going to take it a step further, because the team that you're really competing with as far as the playoffs are concerned is not Dallas. Now, the race for 4th place, you're competing with Dallas. But you're not really competing with Dallas. You're really competing with Vegas. And LA could drop behind Vegas because they're actually closer. I think LA's got 86 points, I think. The Predators have 87. But that's neither here nor there because they're in their division, whatever. If tonight's game, after the Predators play, there's 2 late games. And Dallas plays against Tampa Bay. Now, Tampa Bay is not the best team in the league this year, but they might win the Cup again because they're Tampa Bay, and they've got a lot of talented players, and Tampa Bay is definitely better than Dallas. If Dallas loses their game to Tampa Bay today, as I am expecting that they will, Dallas's percent chance of making the playoffs drops from somewhere around 80-something to 78.6. If they win, it's 90%. So that's a huge game.
I mean, these playoff odds are so finicky.
Now they're starting Wedgwood in net. Ian, who the hell's that?
Scott Wedgwood. He's their backup to Jake Ottinger. I think Wedgwood was in, I want to say, Arizona earlier this year, but he's their backup. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly why.
And that is good for him.
Vancouver has an incredibly outside shot of making the playoffs. So they absolutely have to win their game against Vegas tonight. If they beat Vegas, which is a later game, the odds that Vancouver makes the playoffs go up 4% to 9.5%. If they lose, they go down to 1.5%. So Vancouver's going to give Vegas their best effort. Vegas, if they win, it jumps up 10% to 53. If they lose, it drops down to 29.6. So that's a long-winded way of me telling you that if you win and Vegas loses tonight, the Predators are pretty much in. Like, then it is pretty much, because it's going to be 90, what do you say, 95% if they win, period. But then if Vegas loses, it's probably going to be like 98%.
Right.
So that's how big of a game tonight is, and I think the Predators know that. David Poyle was telling you, that they know how important that is. So that's why I'm guaranteeing that they're going to win. They're going to win because they know what's at stake. Hines is a good enough motivator to get them ready to go tonight. San Jose does not give one poop about this game. They've fired the general manager. They've lost 6 in a row. It's game 2 of a 5-game homestand. This is probably like the senior class trip for these guys. Like, hey, let's enjoy Nashville and Chicago and Dallas while we're on the road. They are going to win. The Predators. Let me, because last week we got all confused when I meant they. They are going to win. Let's go to your phones. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Caroline, what do we have?
One texter texts in and says, I've been concerned about UC Saros. He's been playing out of his mind, but as of late, he's been playing much more average.
With goalies, sometimes they're hot. When they're hot, they can steal anything, and when they're not, they're not. And, you look back at Rinne, and I love Rinne. Rinne had a bad season by his standards in 2017, the 2016-17 season, and then was freaking nails in the playoffs. He won the Vezina Trophy a year later, was awful in the playoffs. So it's like, it's almost like bullpens in baseball. Like, can my guys just get dudes out when it matters?
Right.
Can Saros get hot when it matters? I understand how the texter feels about Saros, but I got to say this. They drafted a kid in the first round to play goalie a couple years ago, and I think they really believe in him. And David Poyle said with everything going on in Russia where he is now, they're going to try to get his rear end out of there and here as soon as possible.
Right.
And, if you want to be the dude, because you're following Pekka Rinne's footsteps here. Like, you can't follow Brett Favre. If you follow Brett Favre, you got to be Aaron Rodgers. Like, Mac Jones, I hate to break it to you, but the standards are really high for Mac Jones. Mac Jones made the playoffs as a rookie, and everybody looks at it like a bad season for the Patriots because of who he followed. So if you're going to follow Pekka Rinne, you're going to have to play like Pekka Rinne, and that's going to be the expectation because that's what people are used to. You can't follow Brett Favre and be Jake Plummer. So I'm with the texter in that regard. What else we got?
Another texter checks in and says, I'm not as concerned about the game tonight as I am the more difficult games coming down the stretch. How could losing some of these more difficult games against Calgary and St. Louis affect our playoff standings?
Other than you not making it, not a lot. This game does not mean anything more than any Calgary game. This game does not mean anything more than any St. Louis game. This game, they're all the same.
But I think the texter means in terms of the difficulty of your opponents.
But who cares? You got to win this one. Like, that's why you got to win this. You got to win Chicago. You got to win Arizona at the end of the year. And David Poyle knows it.
And that's what I'm saying is you win tonight, that makes your job so much easier going down the stretch.
For everybody out there that believes that pro sports is just this, anybody can beat anybody on any night, and you got to respect your opponent, which is true. But that games against bad teams are not more consequential of, hey, you cannot lose these. Didn't that David Poyle clip we played coming back from break, didn't that kind of spell it all out? Like, didn't that say it?
I mean, they understand what needs to happen.
They know they can't lose tonight. Yes. They cannot lose tonight, and they won't lose tonight. I'm very confident that they will not lose tonight. I feel great about them not losing tonight. I know people probably don't want to hear that, but I'm telling you, they're not going to lose tonight.
There are a lot of concerned fans in the text line.
Oh, I'm sure the text line's got. And if they do lose, oh, my God, the text line's going to be pissed. There is that. What does Hal Gill think of my guarantee? He'll join us next. Plus, I do believe that I can now officially say that there's one player that maybe just isn't seeing eye to eye with John Hines, which we'll get to coming up. Hal will join us, his thoughts on tonight's game and the inexplicability of the idea that the Predators could lose. We'll get to that. 1025 The Game has your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Arca Menard NASCAR Xfinity Series doubleheader on Saturday, April 23rd. No, there's a doubleheader on April 23rd, and a pair of tickets to the Geico 500 on April 24th. Just submit a picture of you wearing your NASCAR swag using the hashtag Dega to the Game social accounts. Twitter at 1025 The Game, Facebook and Instagram at The Game Nashville. So good luck with that. And I'm not sure I've read this yet either. Join 1025 The Game for the Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Folds of Honor on May 16th at the Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities. Sign up at thegamenashville.com/golf.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Leads now, Sissons coming onto the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
This is Chef John from Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville. Inviting you to come join us for breakfast and lunch. We are offering some exciting new menu items. For breakfast, we have a smoked prime rib hash. Comes with a sunny side up egg, hominy, caramelized onions. It's a great start to your day. We are featuring a sourdough pancake made with a sourdough bread starter. It's a fun spin on the classic buttermilk pancake. As always, Kitchen Notes is serving biscuits all day. Come join us and create a memorable experience here at the Omni Hotel. Food is all about memories for us. We'd like you to start a new memory here at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Hotel.
Breakfast at Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
The 2022 Major League Soccer season is officially here, and Nashville SC's new home, Geodis Park, is nearly complete. Don't miss Nashville SC's home opener May 1st. Secure your season tickets now. Come on and grab a seat at NashvilleSC.com/22ticks.
Spring into savings at Electronic Express. Get up to 40% off the latest 4K TVs from Samsung, LG, Sony, Hisense, TCL, and more. That's not all. Get huge savings in every department, like computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, mattresses, and more. Plus, save up to 40% on all appliances with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online with free express delivery on most items. Shop locally owned and family operated at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Attention veterans of Middle Tennessee. Little Guys Movers wants to put your hard-earned skills and leadership talent to work with your very own Little Guys Movers franchise. Be your own boss and build a team with standards as high as your own, and all while serving your community with the same hustle that you served your country. Use your existing 401k to invest in yourself. Financing options are available. Start a fulfilling, profitable new chapter of your life as a member of a team with 30-plus years of growth and good times at LittleGuysFranchise.com. That's LittleGuysFranchise.com.
Smokeville Smoke Shop in Hendersonville wants to invite you, your friends, and family to their huge 420 blowout event. Live music, on-site food and dessert trucks, discounts store-wide, and a free dab bar. Smokeville Smoke Shop's 420 event will be held at their flagship store located at 699 West Main Street in Hendersonville on Wednesday, April 20th. Visit them on Instagram at Smokeville Smoke Shop for more event details and to take advantage of additional special offers. Smokeville Smoke Shop for all your smoking needs.
In the NBA play-in tournament, there are no sure things except one. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays on FanDuel Sportsbook, and you'll get an instant bonus, win or lose. Joe Rexrode here to let you know, not only do you get to enjoy the NBA's best duking it out for the right to advance to the playoffs, but FanDuel's giving all customers a bonus for getting in on the action. Oh, and the more you bet, the bigger your bonus. I think the 8-seed Clippers look really good to advance. Of course, there's so many different things you can do. Same game parlays. Check that popular same game parlays tab on FanDuel. That's one that we've pre-assembled. A lot of fans can get in on that and really do well. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA. The app is safe. It's easy to use. Trust me there. And you get your winnings fast. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up today with promo code Joe102 and make every moment more. Don't just watch the NBA play-in tournament. Be a part of it. Bet at least $20 in same-game parlays and get an instant bonus, win or lose. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is now available with free bets that expire in 7 days. Max bonus $100. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line. 800-899-9789.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Predators with a big one tonight here at Bridgestone Arena as they get set to take on the San Jose Sharks, who are terrible. They've lost 6 games in a row, 5 of which were in regulation. I got to believe that they were hitting Broadway last night because they have nothing to play for, and that's a big deal. Hey, show us your bad Easter photos, Nashville. From pastel overload to horrible bunny costumes, we want to see it all. You can win a family 4-pack of tickets to a Sounds home game and the grand prize of a 2-night stay at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel with access to their fabulous Soundwaves water park. Submit photos now at thegamenashville.com/Easter to enter. 1025 The Game presents Bad Easter Photos. Get more info and submit a bad Easter picture now at thegamenashville.com/Easter. So I have guaranteed a Preds victory. The Predators have lost 2 in a row. They know they need to have it. They know they need it for the playoffs. They're playing San Jose, who has nothing to play for. They're in game 2 of a 5-game road trip. They've lost 6 in a row. Their general manager stepped aside last week, and the Predators beat them 8-0 last month after they lost a game to Seattle that they weren't very happy with. Hal Gill came on our show the day before the San Jose game. I told him I was uninspired with their play, and the Predators went out and won 8-0. And Hal Gill joins us now, presented by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. Hal, I don't do this very often. This is the 3rd time in the last 4 years that I have guaranteed a Preds victory. I am guaranteeing victory tonight against San Jose. Put yourself in the shoes of that locker room right now, in the skates, I should say. How confident do you think they are, and how much do you think they know is at stake in a game in which they got to get 2 points?
Well, that's a good question. How confident are they? I got to imagine there's a ton of urgency right now, starting this homestand with a game that you're supposed to win. I'll be honest with you. I think they need to win it. I think they need to make sure that they're taking care of business when they can. So I think they probably have some confidence in the fact that they know that the guy next to him is going to go right out, balls to the wall. I mean, that's what I would be thinking is, guys, I'm going to give it everything I got tonight. I need you, and I know you're going to be there with me because you have to realize how big this game is and how big these 2 points are.
Mm-hmm. Put yourself in the skates of the San Jose players. You know, you were a veteran player, and I know you've played on some bad teams in your life. You've also played some great teams. I mean, I'm convinced that, yeah, these guys are going to go out there and play hard tonight, San Jose, but, like, there's no way that they weren't out on Broadway last night. There's no way they weren't enjoying, you know, their last big road trip of the season together, you know, and just kind of enjoying it for what it's worth and getting ready for their Cancun vacations. How do you think the Sharks are approaching tonight's game?
I would agree with all that. If it was me, yes, I would be out there on Broadway. I would be enjoying it. But I'd also have a sense of playing guilty. That's a very real thing. And you can say, yeah, I don't care about the game, and I'm not, you know, who cares? We're out of the playoffs. I'm going to go drink and have fun and stay up late. But then as soon as the puck drop comes around, you're going, oh boy, I better perform because I was out late and I was drinking and I was doing stupid things. And then that's when you kind of dial it in and play guilty, play simple. And hey, let's face it, this is a team that has nothing to lose. So they're going to give you their best run. The hard part is taking that away from them early on, right? If you go out in the game, it's just like, oh my God, these guys are all over us. It's not worth the effort. Let's just pack it in. That's kind of what you want. But the first 5 minutes, you get nervous, and if you're that team that was out on Broadway, you don't want to embarrass yourself. So you play a little harder and see if you can hang in on this game. But I'm really hoping that the Preds can sense that and take it away from them.
You know, Peter Laviolette said something to me, Hal, a couple of years ago, which was sometimes there are elements of a season or a playoff series that really matter, and other times it does not mean that that same thing will matter a year later or 2 years later or whenever. And a couple years ago, the Predators had convinced themselves that they just needed to be going by the time the playoffs rolled around. They went 8-2 down the stretch. They felt like they had flipped the switch, and then they got smoked by Dallas in the playoffs. I look at this team, and they're not going to have home ice in the playoffs if they get into the playoffs, you would assume. But I do think there's something about the way that they're playing. I feel like after Saturday and Sunday, I feel like the Predators probably think they're like one tick below where they know they need to be. And I wonder if a game like this and a homestand like this, Hal, can be something that supercharges them going into the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's what you're looking for, right? Is to bottle it up and find the right chemistry at the right time and then ride it into the playoffs. I do look at something that John Hines said a little while back was this team is not good enough to win without playing well and without competing. And, you know, you look at the Preds teams in the past, the President's Trophy, they were just humming along and resting guys. And, you know, like they thought they were pretty good. And I think this team has a pretty good pulse on the fact that we're not going to win unless we we give it everything we got, and we play the right way, and we play together. And so I think, to your point, a tick away, yeah, but I think they have the right mindset, and that's, you need to get lightning in a bottle to win in the playoffs. You need a little bit of luck. You need things to go your way. But I think this team realizes that if they want anything to go their way, they're going to have to work for it. So not just individual efforts, but team efforts. They're going to have to work together, and they're going to have to play all, run through some walls. And so I think this team understands that. And I think if they can go out tonight, set the tone for this homestand, and, this is a lot of hockey they're playing, but if they play the right way, I think they're going to get results, and it's a lot more fun to battle through, 4 games or 5 games in I think they're in a 6-9 stretch. So if they can battle through this and get the job done, I think they're going to be a lot happier with the giving everything they got with a couple wins, and then they just string them together.
Hal Gill is our guest, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. Hal, something that I'm not concerned about it. I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, which is last year the Predators at this time of the season, they were right on the line of making the playoffs, but they were kind of always on the inside, and then they won the games they needed to win down the stretch in order to get in, which was good. But the last year, the biggest problem was that the good players on the team, Johansson, the highest paid guys, Duchesne, Forsberg, they really didn't play all that well last year. And it was almost like if they can get those guys going, imagine what it could be. Well, Forsberg and Duchesne are probably going to score 40 goals this year. Roman Yossi's probably having the best season in the history of the Predators of any skater, period. And yet it feels like they're in the exact same spot they were last year. How?
Don't forget, Juice has been fantastic. You got a rookie in Tanner Jeannot that's playing unreal. I look up and down the lineup, and Carrier's been good.
Everybody except for Luke Cunnin is, I think, having an okay season.
Everyone is playing well, and they're in the same spot. I think it's just the league, the way it is. It's you got to come every night, and they've let some games go. If you look at back in the schedule, and this is another one of them that they need to win. They need to make sure they beat the Sharks. But you look at Seattle, Philadelphia, some of the teams that they lost to on the way, you put those points in there, and then they're looking at second place. And it's a fine line, especially in this Western Conference. It is so tight. I just think you look at a couple wins here or there, and it's a very different story. But that being said, I think all those guys are getting confidence from the seasons that they're having, and that's when it matters, is when these games are big and they need to make sure that they're getting those wins. I think confidence matters, and they need to go out there and perform the way they have all year, perform together, and then get those little lapses in the schedule where they just let those points slide. Straighten that out, and they're a good team. They're not too far away from being up there. You add, I just listed 2 of them, and I could go on about them. There's probably 12 points throughout this season that they left, and if they have those 12 points, it's a very different story.
Hal Gill is with us, presented by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. You know who's confident about tonight's game, Hal?
Who is that?
Caroline, who's confident about tonight's game?
You.
I've guaranteed victory tonight. The Predators will win tonight. I am not worried about it whatsoever.
Hey.
Hal, tell Caroline and I.
Confident? Is Caroline confident?
Oh, I'm confident.
Are you as
that
confident as me?
Well, I'm not putting $1,000 on the game.
I didn't put 1,000, put 500.
I'm also not going to do 500. I don't know if that has to do with my confidence or just a difference in income, but I am very excited. I am very confident about the Predators winning this game tonight.
Well,
yes.
I'll take your word for it over Jared's anyway.
Well, thank you, Hal. That's
if
nice
I
of you to
lose
say.
my 500, then I cannot be going to my Dunkin' Donuts location on Harding Pike that I go to, that Hal goes to, that I was actually at the other day. And so, Hal, tell us about how much you love Dunkin'.
Well, you guys know I love Dunkin'. I'm from Boston. That's kind of like you just grow up with the Dunks, and there's one on every corner. But now you said it, there's one on Harding Pike, 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. There's also in West Lebanon at 1645 Main Street. So lots of options to go and get your dunks. And when you get to your dunks, lots of treats there. I'm sure you went and had a Boston cream donut, Jared. Is that your go-to?
No, it's the mini bagel plain bites or whatever.
Oh, with the cream cheese in the middle.
Good?
Yeah, because
Those
that
are
way you're
so
not.
good.
Well, because that way
Omelet
you're not
bites, yes.
eating a whole. You're not eating a whole bagel, but you're getting the bagel cream cheese experience.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, but there's lots of options. If you haven't had the snack and bacon, that is terrific. Of course, Munchkins, breakfast sandwiches, sausage, egg, and cheese, ham, egg, and cheese. Get your bacon, egg, and cheese. Lots of options. But the chicken biscuits, don't forget about those. Those are fantastic, too. But do what I was just talking about iced coffee on the way in. It heated up today. It got nice and warm. So it's iced coffee weather for me. So I had my iced coffee. But go treat yourself. Go get your dunks.
There you go. Hal Gill joining us, Preds radio analyst. Hal will not be on the radio on Saturday. Crispy will be in with Pete Weber, and then they'll do the TV side of it Sunday as we say goodbye. Hey, Hal, salute to Crispy this week. We love him, and we appreciate you as well.
That is must listen and must watch television and radio. So that is going to be fun.
I would agree. Hal Gill joining us on the program, presented by Dunkin' Donuts, featuring their newest next-gen location at 500 Cool Springs Boulevard. See ya, Hal. Enjoy the game. That felt very spirited.
That was fun at the end.
So we'll get back to your text on it. We got Predators game day. But there is one player that I've just decided John Hines doesn't like. I've just decided. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game. And, of course, we're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
Pockets of heavy rain will move in overnight tonight. We look for a threat of strong to severe storms Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. Damaging wind and a few tornadoes possible. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
As a mom, you have to plan for everything. But I never planned on my health plan at work costing so much to cover my family. Fortunately, with more than 70 years of experience helping Tennesseans, Farm Bureau health plans help me get family-friendly coverage for a lot less. So I can focus on raising my kids, not my premiums.
Ouch, Mom!
Find out more at FBHP.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I had it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Go yard all summer long with $5 Dinger Tuesdays on FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe Rexrode here to let you know all customers will get $5 for every home run hit by both teams when you place a $25 to hit a home run wager on Tuesday MLB games. The best part about Dinger Tuesdays is even if your bet loses, FanDuel will pay you $5 for every home run. One team I'd look at, maybe the Mets, Pete Alonso, something for you to consider. What are you waiting for? Pick your home run hitter, turn big swings into big wins. There's no better place to bet America's pastime than on America's #1 sportsbook. Fast, easy, all kinds of options. Head over to your FanDuel account or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code Joe102. Again, that's promo code Joe102. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is now drawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max bonus $25. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Inside knowledge on the Titans.
Todd Downey's got his notepad out right now, just writing things down.
Inside knowledge on the Predators.
They can go right into the forecheck, and boom, you get a beautiful goal from Colton Sissons.
And then there's a team in Knoxville.
How excited should Tennessee fans be by what they've seen from Josh Heupel in year one?
Wake up and hang out with Robby and Rexrode. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Brought to you by Little Guys Movers on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Watch live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube.
You're listening to Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena. Big game against the San Jose Sharks. Predators game day coming up right around the corner. I do want to get to this because I finally made a decision on something, as I have guaranteed a Predators victory today. So last year, you remember the playoffs when John Hines didn't play Dante Fabro?
I do.
And everybody was telling me it was because of the left shot, right shot.
Uh-huh.
And it's like left shot, right shot, who gives a shot, right? Like just get the good players out there.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Just get the players out there that are best on defense. And they had pumped Fabro's tires for years, and here is John Hines not playing him in the playoffs. Then I asked John Hines after they got eliminated, how important is Fabro? Well, he's very important to us. So Sunday I'm watching a game, and I'm like, is that Lozon out there with Yossi? Like, is that Jeremy Lozon, a third-pair defenseman out there with Yossi? And it was. And it was because Dante Fabro was scratched. Well, I just made an assumption without even looking that Fabro must have gotten hurt on Saturday against Florida, right? David Boyle on the midday show today said, you know the rule in Little League sports where everybody has to play?
Yes.
He gave us that. This was Boyle on the midday show.
We're carrying 9 defensemen. And, John, we're playing 4 games in 6 nights, and John wanted to not to shake up the lineup, but to make sure we get guys in, maybe not on a regular basis, but occasionally. Benning had been out for 3 games. We thought it was time for him, and Fabro, possibly didn't play as well as John would have liked, and I'm pretty sure Fabro will be back in there tonight, for example, just to keep everybody in rotation. But again, we need the best game or a game out of everybody every night. So it's a little bit of a rotation as we play a lot of games in a few nights, and also trying to dress your best players every night, and whatever team matchups John thinks that should be.
I mean, I think Hines doesn't like Fabro, and I think it's pretty obvious, right? Poyle said, I don't think he played Saturday as well as John would have liked. It's like he didn't play as well as John, but he will be back in the lineup tonight. To me, that is like David wants Fabro in the lineup. And I think Hines hates Fabro. I've just decided after not playing him in the playoffs last year and sticking freaking Ben Harper out there, I don't care about left shot, right shot. He put Ben Harper and Eric Goodbranson on the ice in the playoffs ahead of Dante Fabro. And then to pull out Fabro on Sunday against Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. And David, the first excuse David gave there was, we're carrying all these defensemen. I mean, it was kind of like we wanted to get everybody a chance to play. We wanted to put everybody in the game. And it's like, dude, it is the final 2 weeks of the season. You were trying to make the playoffs.
Or is it, we're carrying a lot of defensemen and we need to see who we would like to continue to carry. So we need to see them actually play. And if he can't play as a first line defenseman, then
we're going to stick Lozon in there?
I don't know.
I mean,
clearly they did.
Goodness gracious.
But if that is true, then at what point is it incredibly irresponsible of John Hines to put his own feelings ahead of what's best for the team?
Well, I think, but when I say Hines hates Fabro, I don't mean Hines hates the guy Fabro. I mean, he hates the player. He thinks the player is costing them games. So his
then maybe he is right and Jeremy Lozon is the better pairing out there with Yossi.
So Hines' theory, this is, again, I don't know it, I'm speculating, but my theory on Hines is that Hines' theory is that he thinks Fabro stinks. That like all this, hey, Fabro, he's got the potential. He just makes too many mistakes. And Hines is looking at that saying that's getting me beat.
Or do you think that Fabro stinks?
I'm not the one who took him out of the lineup. I'm not the one who played Ben Harper over him. I mean, you were here. I was screaming last year about Fabro.
I know your feelings about Ben Harper.
It's embarrassing to not have Fabro out there. You picked a guy in the first round. You just gave him a contract. I mean, come on. And, like, I felt like in that Poyle clip, you can hear from Poyle that, like, the sense was John was like, Dante didn't play well enough. Let's try somebody else in there to see if they do well. And it was John who felt that way, not me who felt that way. And then David sprinkled in the whole, like everybody needs a chance to play argument and all of that. I'm just telling you, that's just my gut, is I don't think that Hines likes Fabro. And again, I'm not saying that he doesn't like Fabro the guy. I'm saying I don't think he likes Fabro the player. I think he is over it. And I hate to break it to you, but I kind of look at John Hines and I kind of look at Fabro and I kind of think like, yo, that's your job. Like, your job is not to take Fabro out of the game and put somebody else in who's not a first-round pick, who's never going to be a first-round pick, who's not at the talent level of Dante Fabro. Your job is to get Dante Fabro to play well enough so that he can be on that first pair with Roman Josi. Because, quite frankly, the other options, the Ben Harpers and everybody else, they're terrible. I don't need to see Jeremy Davies in there over Dante Fabro. I mean, they put Fabro out in the playoffs 3 years ago. I mean, right out of college. So that's just my theory. Predators game day is now.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The Nashville Predators 41-26-5, good for 87 points, clear of a playoff spot by 3 points of the Vegas Golden Knights. The San Jose Sharks 29-33-9, good for 67 points and eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. They will not be involved. It is a big one tonight. It is one that I have guaranteed the Predators will win tonight. I have put $500 on the game. I have put my reputation on the line. They will win tonight. And if you are a listener of this show, you know that I do not give the Predators praise unless they have earned it. Or, I don't really expect anything of them unless they have earned the reason for me to expect it. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. John Hines, we start with the coach's take. The last time these two teams played, the Predators won 8-0. John Hines, thoughts?
We know it's going to be a different, a different game. I think it's the NHL. They have prideful guys. They got a lot of good veterans. They have a lot of good experience, and I'm sure that they have that. They're going to talk about that. But we've also talked about that with our players. That they're going to come out and they got pride. It's the NHL. It's hard to play, and we expect their best effort. But I think more importantly for us, where we're at in the season and the race we're in, I'm expecting our best effort too.
I am expecting their best effort as well. Why? Because it's the playoffs. Like, I understand that they're not in the playoffs yet, but you're going to have to beat San Jose. You're going to have to beat Chicago. You're going to have to beat Arizona at the end of the season, and then you're going to have to win a couple games down the stretch. You need to win tonight. He knows it. Poyle knows it. We played the clip earlier this hour. I know it. You know it. We all know it. They will win again. The San Jose Sharks have lost 6 in a row. They have fired their general manager. This is game 2 of a 5-game road trip. They probably went out on Broadway last night, as Hal Gill said, although he made us fear the revenge factor, or the guilt, playing guilty. Is what Hal said, that they partied last night, so then they'll be guilty, so they'll want to play hard.
I don't know how much I buy that.
The Predators are going to win tonight, guaranteed. It is a massive game, an 11-point swing as far as percentage points are concerned for making the playoffs, and there's 2 big ones tonight as well. Dallas and Tampa Bay tonight at 8:30, and then Vancouver and Vegas at 9 o'clock. You need Vancouver to win. You need Tampa Bay to win. And we will see you tomorrow at 2. Darren is ready for the pregame show. That's next. Stillman and